Second.
All right, it is 6 PM. I will call the Board of Selectmen meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we have the minutes. Did anyone look at the minutes yet?
Just halfway through them.
EDA project kickoff, Andrew, go back to him, be August 3rd.
What's that?
The ADA kickoff will be August 3rd. That's when they're going to come in. I just looked in.
Oh, for that.
Oh, for that, yeah, okay.
It's the minutes.
I had a question, Andy, more than anything, not related to the minutes, but I thought of it as I was walking in the door. The police association using, that's on the minutes too, but using the property, should we have an insurance certificate from them? They're gonna be storing stuff up there.
So the police association are the police department. They just fundraise with the.
Understood. It's the same as the fire.
So it's not the police association that is using it. The police association is purchased it
Gotcha.
for use of the police department.
Okay.
So
Fair.
when the police association has the Easter egg roll and they give away the candy and the gifts to the kids,
Yeah.
the police association
Donate.
paid for it and
Gotcha.
donated it.
Okay.
The police officers, as town employees, are here using the ball field to.
Yeah.
Same exact thing with the fire association. The
Yep.
fire association raises funds and maintains Betsy, the old fire truck.
Sure.
But it is owned, insured, and driven by the town of East Brookfield employees.
Okay.
So
Yeah. No, and I was just, somebody got hurt. There was a problem.
No,
is
no,
all
no.
I was thinking of.
one of the reasons I'm bringing it up is if the Friends for the Community decide to have a 501c3.
Yep.
So that they can fundraise rather than accept donations.
Yep.
The committee would be appointed by the town of East Brookfield, and they would be a town of East Brookfield committee.
Yep.
Running the event and using our insurance and using the ball field as a town committee. However, they may or may not choose to have a 501c3 where they can fundraise.
Right.
Exactly like the fire association,
Yep.
exactly like the police.
No, that's a great explanation.
Just
Andy.
to
Absolutely.
get around the fact that a town committee can't fundraise. They can accept donations, but they can't fundraise. Not that we haven't in the past.
It's not
but
to
now
get
that we've
around it.
brought
That's-
to ourselves.
It's not to get around it necessarily. It's to do it properly.
It's not to get around it. It's so that we can do it correctly within a mass general law.
Yep, great.
It's not that we haven't done in the past, but now that we're aware of the situation, we need to take action to make sure that we're doing it properly.
Fair enough, Andy. Yep, that's great. Thank you.
Now, we did discuss the former water department clerk. I don't see it anywhere here in the minutes. Do you? Whether or not we should send a,
So we didn't take a motion on it, but it was part of discussion, I should say, right?
So,
it'll come up in a minute, so.
Says right here, water superintendent to notify present clerk, potential billing delays, or it doesn't say anything after that.
that's all it said.
Where did you see that? I'm sorry?
Under note,
Under water billing administration, notice of billing clerk position defunding.
it just says water.
Oh, yep, gotcha. Read right through that.
Okay, so he had sent a letter or an email.
Yep.
I had it somewhere. Apparently the billing clerk did come in over the weekend. The former billing clerk came in over the weekend and did billing. There's no funding.
It's hard.
Okay, so minutes.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any,
Finish that first.
well, I mean,
Nope, they look good.
one emergency at a time, please. Anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for Monday, July 13th as written.
I'll second that, Amber.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. This is the new minutes. These were paid for through the professional technical account.
Oh, so this is the generated
This is
minutes you,
the
oh, no
generated
kidding.
minutes.
Wow. Wow.
This is $6.99 for the year, and it takes 3 to 4 hours a week off of
6 hours.
Fabulous.
4 or more hours off of our administrative assistant's plate to make her available for other duties.
699 is in 699?
$6.99 a year, yeah. Is there a limit to the number of minutes, or is it?
Let's hope we don't get
52
there.
Or is it 40? No, what I'm saying is it based upon 40-minute meetings, or is it based upon 52 weeks?
Special because we meet every week. She said the majority of municipalities do not meet every week.
Well, we meet every week, but there's 11 Monday holidays, and we take some off during the year, so.
So we're 35 or 40.
3 minutes, 3 hours long.
So your plan will cover
Well,
what?
our plan will cover it.
Okay.
If there's no further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Vote aye.
Nice, thank you.
The beauty of technology.
Okay, so we have Quest on our agenda again. This is an informational thing.
Well, no, that's,
We have a contract through October.
yes. So that's what keeps sending daily rates, which I'm thinking, why are you sending them? That's all October to decide to lock in. I don't know, because they're going up. What, but he wants an answer. Do we want to lock in?
Is he asking someone
I
to lock
said
in
that, I said-
prior to October? Is that what he's asking
Yeah,
for?
because he said the rates are going to keep going higher.
It's okay. Yep.
So I'm looking at last year's contract and I don't see what the rate was for last year.
That's all I could find. in that.
It's 13.4. This is, so for 12 months, we have 13.489. From 11/2/25 through 11/1/26. Right?
Sorry, Andy, I was looking at something different, I'm sorry. It's back up to you, apologies, yeah, no, I was focused on something else, sorry. You're on the table in the back, Andy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right now, we're paying 13.489,
Mhm.
okay?
Yep.
And he's saying that if we wanted to jump the gun and sign up for 12 months right now, we could get a guaranteed 14.9. If we wanted to go for 24, we get 14.8. If we want to go 36, we could get 14.5.
Why would it be jumping the gun, Andy, versus just, if our agreement's expired, why wouldn't we just renew it?
Until November. We signed last year in October. And almost every week, he sends us one of these to try to get us to renew early.
Okay. So, I mean, I guess if there was more uncertainty about oil and all that type of stuff, maybe there'd be some pressure for it, but is there any pressure to renew early other than that you can think of?
Do we have any of the older ones that he sent us? Is he sending us the exact same thing and changing the top? Or is there?
No, they are changing a little, not a lot, but I did find some old ones. If you want to look, the last one in April
What's the 12-month in April, please?
is, say,
Should be the very first page. No?
that's just for the whole contract.
Okay.
I can print them all if I like.
No, I was
I'm
just.
just curious too, yeah. See
What it
how much
was
of a
in the
change.
past versus what it is now.
If it's fluctuating, how much?
I mean, if it's fluctuating a penny or a half a
That's
penny,
what
it'd be
is.
worth it.
It's a
But,
couple pennies each time.
well, that's a lot.
Yeah. As a percentage of 14 cents, a couple pennies is a fair amount.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's,
The one last week that we had.
It's point,
10%.
Did we have one last week,
no,
right?
we did.
Yeah, there was one last week. It's in my folder at home, of course. I was just wondering what the difference from last week. Did you send an email too? I think you did. Last week.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what was.
Would have put it there.
And I could go for that.
Here, of course.
I'll get mine this time, yeah.
There you go. Do you find anything?
I'm looking, I'm sorry, I was,
No, I was just wondering if you found anything like reasons why or. Oh, here we go. I got it. I just know that was from. Yeah, so on the 29th, the rates were, let's see. Ooh, this is weird. He had a 13-month on a 12-month. Maybe that was a printing error. Was 0.14541. 24 months was 0.14478. And a 36-month was 14469. So,
so half a penny.
yep, that's in a week.
Except for the 36
Yeah,
months.
for the 36.
36 months would be about.
So that's the change in 1 week.
What was the first number again, Amber? I'm sorry.
0.14541.
Yes, it's a half a penny for the 12 month.
Yeah.
And that was the 29th. He emailed that one on June.
Yeah, a month later.
Yep. Give or take.
Depending on the stock market, depending on the commodities market, depending on the oil market, it could go up another half a penny next week, or it could go down a penny, or, you know, it's one of those fluctuating things. Whenever I have 4 gas cans empty, I run down and fill up 4 gas cans. I mean, when we get.
Not on Sunday afternoons, but yes.
Once it's $3.79, once it's $5.79. I mean, you know, it all works out in the end.
Yep,
At the end of the year, you still spend, you know.
pretty much the same
Yeah.
amount with a little bit of an increase, Andy. Agreed.
Right, but I mean, you know, like this market right now for fuel, it's been going up and down and up and down and up and
Yeah.
down, so.
Yep. Ate up all my contingency left over for the year. I had some extras, but not at the end. So I mean, I don't know, should we lock in? So we're talking September, October, 3 months, quarter of a year early? Do we
Well,
lock
we
in?
would have to ask him if the 12 months goes from August 1st till
Sure.
July 30th the next year, or is he talking like the typo is 13 months as in we're renewing early? Because if we sign up this right now, does that mean?
We're
that our
actually
rate-
selling ourselves short because our rates.
Right.
Well, right now, we're paying 13.4.
Yep.
If we sign up right now, we go to 14 point, we're actually paying a penny and a half more.
Sure.
So if we just wait until October to sign up again,
Or ask him if our rate holds till then.
till
but-
October,
Yeah.
right? That's the two questions, all right.
When she comes back, we can tell
Yeah,
her.
we're not meeting next week, right? So we'll
No.
be meeting again on August 3rd.
I found the email for you.
So, we're here. It's June 29th through July 13th.
For the 13th. You want these ones back? I mean, if you want to drive my van home, you can.
I mean, even in a week, Andy, it went up.
Yeah, did you see that?
Well, he's saying it went up in a week, but I don't know what the commodities market is. This
Yeah.
is just from him. So if we could give him an email or a call. Right now, we are locked in at 13.849 through November 1st. If we were to renew early, does that change our rate to the current rate, or does this new current rate take over on November 2nd? We don't want to pay a penny and a half too much now. And then on August 3rd, we'll see what the rate is on that date, whether it went up or went down, or, you know, the pumps, the gasoline at the pump just fluctuates daily. I'm sure all commodities do. The contract that we have, is it radio oil?
No, it's Peterson, I think.
Peterson, that we have for diesel fuel for the highway department, you know, it's not what we pay at the pump because there's no tax on it because municipality, but we're also locking in a price for 12 months. So we're getting a contract in, say, March or April for July 1st to June 30th of the next year. So they're taking as much of a gamble as we are.
Risk as you are.
You know, we've said that for years, you know, we're asking our department heads to get a budget together in December for 18 months from now. You know, so I mean, when they're asking for a utilities budget or a heating budget or a telephone budget, it's based upon their best guess, because you have no idea what fuel prices are going to do, what utility prices are going to do, what natural gas is going to do. You know, whether or not they're going to have some new creative charge to add to the bill. So we'll take that up on August 3rd, once we know those questions, okay? All right, you had something here from Howard Stern Hudson. What was that?
So that's, last week, Mike brought in a proposal from Howard Stein Hudson to help us with the grant application.
Yeah.
And they were looking for $4,500 from us to do it. I reached out to Ty and Bond to ask them if they would be available and interested in helping us, and that's the second email. They got back to me today and indicated they would do it for free and basically provide the same application services that we had requested from Howard Stein Hudson.
And they would do it for free?
Free.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, we've done a lot of work with them over the many years. And
We certainly have.
and in fairness to Howard Stein Hudson, we've started to do a fair amount of transportation work with them.
Yeah.
I just think for a grant application that is a challenge and very competitive, if we can get somebody to apply for free, that's a better option for us, in my opinion. It may require Mike to help him a little bit more to get some background information, but Mike sent an email back to us today when I forwarded it along that said, that's great. So I interpret that he's on board with us. So
Okay.
with that decision, if that's.
You want to make a motion on that?
I would make a motion that we authorize Ty and Bond to pull a grant application together on behalf of the town of East Brookfield for the, it's a small bridge program, per their email from Brian Gargan dated July 20th, 2026.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So this is for a grant for the small bridge for the
Quote unquote over Great Brook.
road over Great Brook. It's
Correct.
actually considered a culvert by DOT because it's under a certain.
So federal regulations are under 20 feet is a culvert. In the state of Massachusetts, the culvert is up to 10 feet and there's a gap between 10 and 20.
Right.
That's a small bridge basically, and that's what that program is
Yes,
for.
there isn't a small bridge up to the 20 feet.
All right.
Yeah, it's between 10 and 20, correct, Amber. Yep.
All right, so we have a letter drafted for the Baptist Church. You see that?
Yes, they did.
Well, finance says we can offer up to 3 million on that. Is that what they said? So this just, I'll just read it. Attention East Brookfield Baptist Church Leadership Board, RE 267 East Main Street and 101 Connie Drive. Dear members of the board, we're in receipt of your letter, and yes, we do have an interest in the subject properties and would like to meet and have a discussion with the board earliest possible date. Please provide us with a date and time that would be convenient for you. Our Board of Selectmen meetings are typically held on Monday evenings. For the month of August, we'll meet on the 3rd, 10th, and 24th. Thank you for reaching out to us, and we look forward to meeting in August. This concerns the Harrington Center and the parsonage. Their maintenance costs are going up, same as everything else. They need some major work, and they're just looking to see if we would be interested. We're interested. Donations are always happily accepted, so, you know, it's just for future growth. It's a pretty prime. The old parsonage, the yellow building where the fontaine grew up. So it's between Connie Drive and School Street on Route 9, that whole strip right there. So, the wastewater treatment plants and Dunkin' Donuts could go right there. It'd be a perfect spot for it. So, would we like to make a motion to sign this, or we just want to sign it? What's the?
You want it for the record, I'd make a motion to authorize the board to sign the letter to the church board, leadership board.
I will second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. All right, so we have, July 14th, we were sent a letter from, that's where Amber got a hold of Andrew Lowe to,
Yep.
we're discussing how the bills are paid for CMRPC. Yep. That would just clarify it. It is, in fact, an account that has authorization in it. It's not actual funding on hand. So they're paid out of the grant, whether the grant is present or not. So he's just billing his time. So we have a bill from 6/1 to 6/26. I'm sorry, 6/1/26 through 6/30/26 for administration and direct costs for $3,758.01 for the Community Development Program fiscal year 25. And then there's another one, 5/1 through 5/20, 5/1/26 through 5/31/26. And this one is $13,412. And this is for labor and APP prep. I believe that would be the application prep for $9,000. I'm looking for a motion to allow me to sign.
I'll make a motion that are we gonna say the invoices for the community block grant? Is that what we want?
Yeah, invoice from CMRPC for the community block grant.
I'll make a motion that we allow the chairman to sign the invoices from CMRPC for the fiscal year 25 community block grant.
Second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
It is the 20th, right?
How did the chair vote? I'm assuming yes by signing.
Yes. Any other one from the church?
Yes, she has it.
All right, 6/22, so we still have time. We have a change order number 5 here from the West Street Water Treatment Plant. This is for well 1 redevelopment for $41,524 and internet and phone for $18,967. And it is, you guys have copies of that?
Yep.
How it's broken down. So this is to redo the base and do the cleaning and
Set the pump.
reset the pump because they have to. How long ago did we do that pump base? We had to report a whole thing and they put it in and it wasn't cured all that great and it cracked. So now they had a vibration in it and it needs to be serviced every so many years. So they're going to do all of that work. And then the other one is the
Phone.
well, not the phone. It was the
Internet cable, right? The
yeah,
one line?
the fiber optics they put all the way down there.
Yep.
Spectrum Business, $17,753.67.
I'll make a motion that we authorize the chairman to sign change order number 5 to the West Street Water Treatment Plant project.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for $60,491.85, bringing the contract total up to $8,317,565.23. No further discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Attached to that, you just need the top page, right? Attached to that is the different scenarios for paving. Could be, they say it's on request number 5, but it would probably be request number 6 because it wasn't included in that paperwork. So segment A would be from the water treatment plant to the well building, including a turnaround. And that is a total of $132,546. Segment B would be from the water treatment plant all the way up to West Street, and that would be 178,572. And if we so chose to combine the two, it would be a total of 301,658.84. And that would be
Still be within the budget and give us-
16 feet of gravel, 2 feet thick, and then a binder and top coat of 14 feet from Podunk Road all the way to the water treatment plant. This was not included in the original quote. This is an extra.
So I support segment A for sure, for the reasons that Jake had presented to us about working around the well. I think just having a dirt driveway myself, tracking stuff into the water treatment plant and around the well and everything, and working there in the winter, getting deliveries of the chemicals and whatnot that Jake's gonna need now to run the system, that to me makes a lot of sense. I don't think we've lived forever without having West Street paved. I'm not sure there's a lot of value in that, saving that 178,000. Well, our portion of that would be slightly less because of the principal forgiveness, but I'm not sure it's warranted, Andy. I haven't heard anybody screaming and yelling that they needed it, but I think Jake supported segment A, from what I recall.
He's supporting segment A, but we have pavement from the dirt parking lot to the well, and we also have pavement as part of the contract from West Street into the plant. So it's not like you're tracking directly into it. There is quite a bit of paving there now. My area of concern is this is paving a road that is only used by the water department, and it adds 301 minus the contingency to the water rates.
So
If we wanted to do this, we could actually pay for it out of chapter 90 because it is a town road. If at some point in time we wanted to do the whole thing. Based upon Mike's prices, I haven't seen a price from Mike based upon mass broken stone, what this would cost. For those that weren't here, was it 2 weeks ago that we did the chapter 90?
Yeah, something like that.
We have, Mass Broken Stone has a bid to us, and we did authorize the repaving of all of Draper, all of Young, and a portion of West Sturbridge Road. And that was just under $500,000, right? Like 495 altogether? Oh,
I forget the exact.
something like 495 altogether. We do have like 1.2 or 1.3 after this year's contribution from the state. So we do have chapter 90 money, but you know, whether we do the 132,000 or the whole 301, that would be added to the SRF note. So it would be paid for by the water users rather than the.
So what I would say about that, Andy, is I just wanted to clarify or confirm what you said. In the bid itself, we have the driveway and the parking area in front of the treatment plant
Correct,
paid
that's
for.
already done, yeah.
The area from the driveway to the pump station is not part of the project. That's segment A.
Correct.
And that's what Jake supported
Right.
and I support as
Right,
well.
he supported it. Well, he actually supported all the way up. He'd like to have the whole thing paid. Because as you come down the hill with the delivery trucks, some of the delivery trucks didn't have an issue with coming down into the plant. They had an issue with the hill.
Getting back out.
They didn't want to come down with a trailer truck. I know in the past, we've had deliveries and we've actually had it delivered at the highway barn, and the highway department has put it on a truck and brought it down there, or put it on the forks of the loader and brought it down there.
So given, Andy, that
So
this is
but-
part of the water treatment plant operations and the specific to between the plant and the well house where they're
Well, it is a
operationally.
public road.
I get that, Andy, but it's being done for the plant. We have other public roads that we could use the chapter 90 funding for and address more, especially with this being principal forgiveness. And it's out of contingency. So the good news is we're going to come in not only under budget because we're not spending all the contingency costs, but then we did get all the grant funding in. So we're 900 or so thousand below what we initially projected the debt service to
I'm
be.
just saying there are alternatives to putting it on the SRF. We could, if we chose at some point in time or right now, to do this with chapter 90 money because it is a town road. We can use maintenance of town road, the chapter 90 money, rather than the loan.
It's not, it's a town road, but can it be a town road, but not open to the public,
It's not open to the public because it's within the
the watershed? Or-
water.
I don't think I mean, there's plenty of roads that go right through the lakes and through the watershed. That's not why it's closed. It's just locked off so that people aren't down at the plant for no
I
reason.
understand why, I'm just saying, can you call it a public road if it's not open to the public?
Well, we call it a public road and we've been collecting
Well,
chapter
call it
90
town
money for
for
it.
We have been collecting on it?
Well, it is,
It's on our
it is
list.
in our inventory, such as like Wood Road.
And you probably know this better than I do. it seems like unless you did a lot of preparation, that might be a difficult section to maintain pavement on, especially if it's gonna be tractor trailers driving.
Well, they're putting in 2 feet of stone base in a pretty thick
Oh, yeah.
pavement section, yeah. It's a robust road.
This includes excavation of material that's there now and putting in
Oh, okay.
2 feet of processed gravel all the way down, 16 feet wide, compacted in bases,
And lifts, yeah.
in the lifts.
How much if you're doing both together?
300 for both,
So
130 for the operations related area that benefits Jake and Dylan and others helping them
well, the whole
out.
thing benefits him. I mean,
Yeah.
it's, you know, we lock that off, same as almost every water treatment plant, within so many feet of the water treatment plant. If you recall, West Street is just the water treatment plant. There's a 50-foot between the two conservation areas that go down and around. So it's not like there's going to be any other use. You know, there's no businesses, there's no properties, there's nothing there.
Do you have the option of using chapter 90 for the West Street part if you did it now? Or only if you, would you have to wait?
You could do it now, Leo, and we could even do an amendment with this contractor to do
Well,
it, pay for it out of 2 different sources.
I
What he's
mean,
asking is, right now, if we wanted to do the 301,000,
Yep,
first of all, can we do it because we're under contract with Mass Broken Stone?
yep. Do we have enough money in chapter 90?
Well, we
to
do
it?
have enough money, but would we want to spend the chapter 90 money right now?
Right.
And can we pay this bill because we're under contract with Mass Broken Stone for maintenance of town roads and paving?
Yeah. So they could,
This would be
we
outside.
could contract with, so it would be a separate contract. You're right. It wouldn't be part of this. Yeah, you're right, Andy. I'd forgotten that. So if it's, the 130,000 is $7.20 a year in debt service, basically just the debt costs over a 30-year period per customer. And then if you were to do the whole thing, it would be about $16.60 per customer per year. So again, I think we should wrap up down at the plant and at the well. And if we want to do it with chapter 90 money, we can address that at some point when they're out of there and out of the way. I wouldn't want 2 contractors working at the same time either in the same playpen. That's my opinion on it.
is the contract with Mass Broken Stone give them exclusive to any town?
I don't recall that. portion of this.
It's a materials contract, much like buying fuel, Leo. So we buy it as a town, we buy a certain volume, and they give us a certain price for it per yard or whatever.
All your business for that.
But
Yeah, exactly.
if we're on a call in Worcester and the ambulance is low on fuel, we can stop and use the card. There's actually, if you recall, there's money left in each account. There's a
Yeah.
little bit of money left in police, there's a little bit of money left in
Yeah.
fire, so that if they're on the road, they can make a.
You know, he gave you that price.
He gave us that price, you know, it's not necessarily that we have to do it, but we do have a contract with him. Before we move forward that, I would like to see the number from Mass Broken Stone, just to see what it is.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
this is 301,000 and it's on the SRF note and we get a 18% loan, forgive
I
me.
think it's 18%.
So we pay 82% of this, but it is the water users that would pay it rather than the taxpayers.
Well,
The chapter 90 is a benefit to all taxpayers, not just water rates.
The reason they'd give you a better price if you did them both, obviously, is because of mobilization.
It's not necessarily a better price. We asked them to separate it because we were looking at,
Isn't it cheaper if you do both at the same time?
I don't know that they said that,
actually
Andy.
give
It's,
us a break.
yeah, they
Oh, they're
didn't.
not?
No.
Okay.
It's not in it.
This is section A, this is section B.
No, Mass Broken Stone has a set price, Leo, and that's what they charge you. You go in, if you've got 100 yards and they charge you $10 a yard, right?
Yeah, but I'm talking, this road's gonna have to be excavated and filled and all that. It would have to be a separate price, wouldn't it? They didn't
No,
quote us for that.
Hold on a second though, Andy. I don't know that we have the base preparation in Mass Broken
in
Stone.
Mass Broken Stone, they have a base prep material.
To installation
in
or just a cost?
Both.
Really? Okay.
It's so much a yard to buy, or so much a ton to buy it, and so much a ton to do it. So we have the numbers from Mass Broken Stone.
Yeah.
We just didn't ask Mike to give us the price.
I got you.
So if we check with Mike just to see if this is a better price and we can do it ourselves,
Yeah.
Pretty close.
and then we can make the decision whether or not to do with chapter 90, which there's funds there,
Yeah.
or do it on the water rates,
Or do it under a combination of both.
if allowable, yeah.
Well, again, you could do anything, Andy, under the contract, and then we just issue an agreement to Mass Broken Stone. There's nothing unallowable about it.
Right,
It's
but we
just-
can still see what the price would be.
Absolutely.
Section A and Section B, we can do it through Mass Broken Stone or this contract. I know that they wanted to do it while they were on site. This is the site contractor that did all the rest of the work. They wanted to do it all. They already did the paving. They asked us again when they did the paving in front of the plant, you know, are you gonna do that? We'd like to do it all at once, but. you know,
We want to get
I'd
into
like
their
see
queue to
both
do
of
it
those.
sooner rather than later too. We don't want to be out there in November doing it. I'd rather do it in September, October.
But I would like to see what it would be through Mass Broken Stone also.
I can touch base with Mike and come up with a comparison on them before our next meeting.
Okay, it is 6:35, so we are. Fiscal year audit. So do we have,
So Andy, I'm sorry, just before you jump ahead, we took a vote and we're all set with change order 5, right?
change order 5, yeah, and I signed it, and she's got it, she's gonna send it in.
And you're gonna follow up, Mike, with this part.
For the meeting on the 3rd, so we'll have
So
that on the
this-
agenda. Thank you.
This one right here, it's all talking about the excavation and paving. That should actually be change order request number 6, because
Yeah,
it wasn't on
understood.
number 5.
Yep.
So if we choose to go that route.
Yep.
So we're using this letter that was sent from Dawn on July 1st. Discussions, or we have something else?
Jason, do you want them to move? Is that gonna, if they're gonna speak?
The other here.
If they're going to be like, yeah, come up to the table.
He's just asking, because the microphones are up here. If you guys
So-
want to talk, if you just come closer, because it was hard from our last meeting to pick up voices back
Yeah,
there.
it's gonna take me like 3.
You don't have to stand
hours
right here.
That's the back and forth.
So last week when we had FinCom here and was a lot of back and forth, a lot of that audio he didn't pick up on his regular audio, so he's got to go back and edit out when you were talking to increase the volume for that one portion and decrease it again. And when Mark was talking, increase the volume, decrease the volume. So at some point in time,
Something that I don't want picked up.
Exactly, Leo, you got it.
Or you sit where Sean's sitting because you're not on camera or audio.
at some point in time, we may look at getting some wireless mics to throw back and forth between, just so that it's recorded. So,
Just so it's easier.
all right, so we have the Treasurer and Finance Committee and Accountant for the fiscal year 25 audit. So RCAC, Roselli, Clark and Associates, audited the financial statements of East Brookfield, the town, as of and for the year ending June 30th, 2025. Professional standards require that we provide you with information and our responsibilities under the general accepted audited practices auditing standards, as well as certain information related to the plan, scope, and timing of our audit. We have communicated such information in our letter to you dated September 12, 2024. Professional standards also require that we communicate to you the following information related to our audit. Before we get into that, there was some discussion about whether or not we need to do the same audit for, oh, she came back in. We were discussing whether or not we needed to do the same audit for fiscal year 26 due to the fact that we had over $1 million, is that correct? In federal funding, or we didn't have $1 million in fiscal year 26?
We did have.
For 26, I believe we did. Fiscal year 27, if we have some funding from the block grants and we have some other grants that we're working on, we may or may not. It's the $1 million in federal funding that would be the trigger. For the heads up for the fiscal year 28, when would we know in the current fiscal year 27 whether or not we're going to get $1 million in grants? Would it be by budget time, or would we have to look at the grants as they come in?
I can't answer that for you today, Andy.
Right, it's just, I didn't know if there was any of the big ones. I know the funding we're working on right now through CMRPC, they're calling it fiscal year 25, but we're doing,
It's when it's
We're
received. What
awarding
they
it
call it, I don't think
So,
really
right.
matters. It's when it's
but
received.
we're
Andy.
doing it now, and then we have one for the the playground, that's not a grant yet, right, for the
No,
playground,
they may know
design. We're doing the,
engineering, but we haven't even gotten approval for that yet. That might
Right.
be announced
but the
August.
one we're working on right now,
Oh, that's land conservation, that's
land
state.
conservation, that's the state
That's
one?
not federal,
Okay, so
yeah.
we may or may not have funding from CMRPC, some of that is HUD funding, but if it's not over $1 million, it wouldn't trigger it, so, okay. All right, so what is the discussion?
So do you want me to take it over? Do you want, I mean, I know my
I'm just
areas.
wondering what the questions were.
Well, I guess we can start with, if you have it, page 3. Those are where all the recommendations and findings were of the one you have in hand.
Mhm.
So do you want to start from the top and work our way through it? Because
So we generally discuss a variety of matters, including the application of accounting principles and auditing standards with management each year prior to retention as the town's auditors. However, these discussions can occurred in the normal course of our professional relationship, and our responsibilities were not a condition to our retention. We bring the following matters to your attention. Cash reconciliation process. The town does not maintain an adequate system to track and account for cash and investment reconciliations at year end, which required the treasurer to recreate the outstanding check listing as of June 30th, 2025 from scratch. The recreated outstanding check listing excluded warrant 52, approximately $73,500, which was subsequently identified by the town accountant and covered most of the initial unreconciled cash variance between these two offices of nearly $98,000. Year-end cash and investment reconciliation should be retained in soft and or hard copy as part of an orderly account closing process, which is an integral part of any system of internal control. After taking into account the effects of warrant 52, the following table presents a reconciliation of the town's cash and investment balances as of June 30th, 2025. Bank balance $5,168,568, and outstanding checks per treasurer is $65,809. The warrant 52 outstanding checks of $73,530, other miscellaneous reconciling items of $341, and unreconciled variance of $24,387. The unreconciled variance represents excess cash and investments on hand versus cash and investments recorded in the underlying accounting records.
so I have questions.
Yeah, no, I get it. So a
Um,
lot of that, not all of it, admittedly, because I do have reconciliations. But a lot of that 24,000 actually stemmed from when I came in. There was a big chunk of money that was different. I closed the accounts that we had used with the previous treasurer. And I have the balances from those there from the years from 2023 all the way through 2026. We left them open because unless I recreate the wheel from the beginning, and I really don't know if I could do that with Donna. Because her books keep track of all of the paperwork that comes in, and mine would keep track of the actual cash. So if there were mistakes made on the cash book on my end, or on her end, but I'm thinking it was the treasurer's end, then there's almost no way for me to recreate the wheel. I don't really know if I could do that reasonably from prior to May of 23. About $20,000.
Can I just start with, how did a warrant of almost $74,000?
Oh,
Go
it's my fault
missing.
because when I got 52, if it happens in July, my brain thinks July, not previous year. So it's not that it got missed, it just wasn't added on there for him because I put it in July instead.
So I
Remember
think,
the July warrants we had?
This particular one
Full
was
warrants.
a June warrant.
It was a June warrant.
It was a June.
It was just last June. This is a year ago. It's not this June, it's a
Exactly.
year ago.
So-
Yeah.
When we have
so
the
my question is like, I guess I'm gonna start with, because I'm obviously new and I've said this. I don't understand, like, and maybe that's why I'm gonna ask the question. How often are you going through and making sure the stuff is balanced? Is this done on a monthly basis? Is this, and is this being coordinated as a group effort? Because it should be.
We're not 100% for sure. So there is not usually a
hey, I'm off by this much compared to where you're off by. But what I try to do is make the bank balance match what I have and record the difference.
Sean?
But if we're reconciling monthly, how do we miss
Exactly.
$1,000?
It's not missed, it's been on the balance sheet since 2023.
If that was the case, Nicole, then the auditors would have it, so that.
Right, that's what this
We've
is.
never had an audit since I started.
Nicole, they had the same problems on the audit before. They're now putting it in ready. This is
Right.
the second audit since you've been in that role. This is the second audit. We did 2024 as well. They didn't pull this
I've
out.
never done an audit, but wait, oh, you mean with these people?
Yes, this
Okay.
is the second audit since you've been here. So this is all of your work and,
Okay,
and.
no, it's all right,
It's
I
not,
got the hard copy,
it's
so.
not accurate to say that it's the accounts from Ann
No,
because.
it's not all of it, and I said it wasn't all of it. But there's a big discrepancy on our cash flow.
But at the
from
time,
that.
you, even on your year-end report, you have that there, as if you know it's outstanding checks, because the balance, you have a balance on your year-end report for cash to the DOR, and that's completely different than what you have on, you reported to the auditors.
I don't even know what you're saying, because I can't see it. So when you're saying to the DOR, you need
You
for
sign,
payroll?
you sign your cash balances
Yeah,
with the Department of Revenue
Right.
in September.
yes, September.
You
Oh,
did
right,
not-
because my father died in September, and I was totally with it. I know that we've had this conversation in the
Okay.
past.
Okay, so I'm going to stop right there before it becomes personal. Here's the issue I'm going to have. I'm new to the role, but I'm going to lay it out for you. This is a very important role. You two have probably the most important role, definitely for a town whose budget is going to be very, very, very shaky. And it's not just this year, it's probably all the years coming up. We're going to be in the same position as all the towns around here. Personal feelings need to be checked at the door. I'm sorry, they do. And if this is a position that needs to be worked together, and I'm going to go back to the DLS who came in 2020. And not a single thing that I've read in here has been put into motion as the recommendations that were made for this town to start. They made all these things that are in this report aware in this 2020 report. And one of the biggest things they talked about was we need to be on top of our reconciliation of cash, and that the town accountant and the town treasurer should be meeting monthly. And these should be matching. There should be no question. I have a huge problem when an auditor comes in and the original variance is $98,000. That is mind-boggling to me, mind-boggling. So whatever this personal feelings is, and I'm sorry your father passed away, and I am, and listen, tragedies happen, we all work. But you have a role to maintain, and we have a job here, and it's to represent the residents. It's not to take personal feelings and personal business. It needs to be balanced at the door. You come in and do your job. If it's not being done correctly, and you can't do it, we have to know about this. This should not, definitely, if an override's going to be asked for, the residents are going to know about this. Do you think a resident's going to come in and be comfortable giving a town an override if we can't budget our books?
Yeah, I get it, I understand.
I just don't, I don't understand. I don't understand then
So
what's going on.
figure out a good way for us to do this. What I would like to do is have reconciliation software, but it's expensive. And so I had QuickBooks when I first started here, and I was reconciling all the accounts with QuickBooks, but it's $1,000 a year for us to get the desktop QuickBooks. So I stopped doing it, and I tried doing the bank reconciliations through the bank. They do have a reconciliation software through Positive Pay, and I don't find it's very adequate. So I would like to continue to use a software of some sort, because I know that they use Vadar. It's easier for me to use something different. And would that be an appropriate thing to do?
Who is they?
When all of the town, like the town accountant uses Vadar for all of her accounts and everything, right? It's Vadar that you use.
It's an accounting, yeah, I
Yeah.
would not use accounting. So I am also a certified treasurer, so I have done this process and in towns much larger than East Brookfield. So I don't personally think the software is necessary, but that's just a personal opinion.
It's
I do
easier
like
for
to-
me.
I would like to go back just a little bit because I don't think it is personal here, but the auditor in January sent an email that it was $98,000 and there was no response from the treasurer. In September, I have an email from him saying So I sent him some ideas on what I was working on, and he said it sure would have been nice that I had received something from the treasurer. He received nothing. That was January to March. So the reconciliation does need to be a priority, and that's all I'm trying to say.
So is there a reason there was no communication?
I honestly didn't realize that that email was directed to me, or most of the things were going to her, and I let her deal with it because most of the financial things in this town are.
Was she addressing those emails?
I was on them. Yeah.
So if you saw reconciliation of cash, you didn't think it was something you should,
I don't remember actually when I saw the CPA firm, I think I just said, oh.
because isn't that one of your main jobs? Is that my understanding?
Tax reconciliation is my main.
Okay,
job.
so if you see
I'm
it-
not doing the financial information of the town.
But if an auditor's coming to look for that
Right. And
information,
when they came and they looked for the information, I was here and I made sure that they got everything that they asked for.
this needs to be a priority. It's that simple. So we need to figure this out. And maybe Andy and Bob, you have some input here because I have a big issue with this. I have an issue that if we can't budget our books, that's a huge,
Well, I'm
huge.
so happy to do it, and I'm so happy to make that happen. I don't have any issue at all with that. I would prefer to use the software because the Excel sheets get cumbersome because they're large.
Do we have the money in this year's budget to use Quicken? Is it in your budget now to do it?
Don't know, maybe, probably is, actually. It depends on the type of. I guess it would depend on whether we willing to do the online version, which is significantly less expensive, or the desktop version, which is more than twice that amount. So I don't know. I didn't use about $500 or $800 in my budget last year, so I think that we probably could.
That's gone.
Oh, I'm thinking that if I didn't use it, I probably have it available to me.
If we're gonna pay for a subscription, at this point, because QuickBooks Desktop is drastically overkill for the
Yeah.
purpose of what this is. QuickBooks Online is considerably cheaper, probably what you use. It's gonna serve a purpose.
Yeah.
QuickBooks moved to an online, not online, a subscription structure, even for their desktop software. It used to be you buy it, you have the software forever. You have it until it just dies, or you can't do anything with it anymore. When they switched away from that, in our case, QuickBooks Online definitely more than what we're.
Adequate. Okay.
And I think it's like $35 a
Not in the
month.
budget anyway.
Is that
No software- no software for the account.
Well, there's no software in the treasurer's, I'm just, the Vadar financial software maintenance, it's not just the accountant that uses that, right? Does the
Right.
tax collector use that also, Donna?
I use it too for tax title.
All right, because the only one that has a Vadar financial software maintenance is under the accountant's budget. So your budget supports multiple, okay. And is your Vadar software maintenance the full amount? That's why it's that amount? So that's an exact, okay. Because under the treasurers, you have no software. What is OPEB reporting?
Oh, that's for the retirement,
Okay.
especially
All
for
right.
the audit.
And then your office supplies, postage and checks, that's it. So you have no software budget, so you said it's $35 a month?
I don't know what the going rate is.
Yeah.
I've been out for a few years.
Well, $50 a month, still $600, but we'd have to figure out a budget, yeah.
And regardless, you still have to meet monthly and reconcile whether it's software or not. I mean, that's the bigger issue in my mind.
So that's the good part, is we can reconcile back as many years as we need to.
Just for discussion purposes, the outstanding checks per treasurer is that outstanding checks as in just the ones that were outstanding, or some of these go
Some of
back?
these are older and are actually over a year old, so I have looked at some of them and they probably need to go to the state because it's old, they're old items and they're not people who are related. It's not like I could send it to Amber because it was her check that she just never cashed.
So these are older checks that have come to us or older
No,
checks that
checks
we've,
that we wrote.
That issued.
that we've issued?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
there's nothing related to depository, outstanding issued checks.
And that is literally one of the things they talked about in here. Am I understanding in this next line? Talking about how.
Under abandoned property?
Correct.
Right, but just to look at these items right here, so the outstanding checks, some of those should be sent to the state as in,
Like
Property.
lost money, it's, when it gets to be on
Actually,
the year.
it doesn't work that way in municipalities, but there's an abandonment rule, it does go to the state, but there is a process on each one.
Right, but there's some of these that are more than a year old that we should probably look at that.
Yes.
And in the warrant 52, it got messed up between the July 1st, okay. The unreconciled variance that goes back years and years and years, what steps can we take to eliminate that? Is there some way that we can go back to zero, reclaim it somewhere, carry it forward and?
So, at year, there's still $20,000 between Ann as treasurer and Nicole as treasurer. So yes, she could go back and Ann had a list of outstanding checks. I don't know what total, but there was she did have an outstanding check. I don't know what it totaled. I've not looked at it in years, but it certainly could happen if
So this 24,000 unreconciled variance, this is checks that one account says we issued and another says we didn't, or what is it, Don? I'm sorry.
no one has any idea what it is.
It's
So it's-
that we have that we
That is,
can't account for.
but I think some of it is, so in the response to that email that we received in January, I answered it and said some of the differences from the workbook may be recorded from the North Brookfield Savings Account, AP account. Both these accounts ended fiscal 24 and 25 with negative balances. Nicole was the treasurer at the time. The AP account had a negative 4,171. And then the payroll account had a negative of 36,000. We don't,
Meaning that we had overspent beyond what was in the
I
account?
think what happened is she wasn't keeping track of the withholdings very well, and her deposits versus what was actually spent out wasn't accurate. I mean, I might be wrong, but.
so at the end of fiscal 24, so June 30th, 2024, that payroll account had a negative 16,599. At June 30th, the following year, it had a negative of 36,245,000. So
Why?
Now, I have it as of June 30th, 2024, and June 30th, 2023. Those numbers I have are a little bit different. I have Ann's report too.
I think some of this is like we were talking about with FinCom last week. It's done. What do we got to do to fix it and move
Right.
forward in a lot of ways?
as an accountant, I certainly can't just add 24,000 to, as revenue, and I have no idea what it is for revenue, right?
Yep.
So that's in essence, so really, some of it is from, well, I wasn't notified of some type of deposit throughout the year.
So would their audits have picked up this stuff during the various fiscal years?
They picked up the difference.
But they wouldn't have picked up what the difference came from?
Not going to each individual account.
Yeah, Bob, to kind of give you an idea of that. But they're not gonna look at every single account.
Yep.
And for honestly, $24,000, given the amount of money that the town receives in, it's an immaterial amount. They just would have,
The rounding issue.
they would have asked about it like they did, but that's why it's on this letter, not on the audit report itself. If it was a larger amount, we would have had a problem.
A bigger conversation.
As I've seen it over the last 30 years or so, the accountant has the exact amount that comes in and goes out as based upon the budget.
Mhm.
The treasurer has cash on hand and cash in accounts. I know there was a lot of conversation with the fire department when they became a 501c3 and they had money in an account, but it wasn't what was in the account because it was money that wasn't taken out that should have been. Same thing. There's money that should have been taken out and wasn't, money that was deposited and wasn't. I know through FinCom, we've been trying to figure out how much money's in ambulance fees reserved for appropriation. The treasurer says one thing, the accountant says another, because the accountant is accounting for the money. The treasurer's like, well, we just got a deposit. Okay, but is it on the accountant's books yet? You know, if there's a deposit made on January 1st of $13,000 and then it's given to the accountant on January 15th,
you know, the money went out on January 1st, but it didn't go into the accounting's books and the official record until the 15th.
But if we
There's a lot of
reconcile on
that.
February 1st, that issue wouldn't exist,
Correct.
Andy.
So moving forward, how do we get this particular amount, even though it's insignificant?
Get it to
24
zero.
grand is 24 grand. So I mean, how do we,
Hey, Donna, you can correct me if I'm wrong. The only way to do it is to go back until you find it. Because basically what it's saying is that Nicole received money, put it in the bank, and Donna wasn't made aware of where that money came from or where it should be accounted for.
Well, most of the money is through the payroll and AP. So it wouldn't be a deposit. It wouldn't be money I received. It would be money that was requested to go out or payroll. So none of the accounts that have depository cash are an issue. It's only payroll and accounts payable. Those are the only two accounts that have any discrepancies.
The balance of cash, you're looking at it as a whole.
Right,
You
I
don't look at just those two,
Right.
that you know that there are
I
maybe
know
issues
that
there,
they're.
but that, it's not as general. as
You're right, it isn't, you're right, but specifically, like, if we're talking about those particular accounts that we would want to go back and fix, those were the two that were an issue. There is a small difference, $1,500-ish, in the depository account that was at Northbrook Road. That was the depository account that we show a difference at, but that was prior.
So here's an issue though, that I want to bring up, regardless of who the treasurer is or was at the time. Is anytime the account or there's a variance, especially $24,000, any type of variance, you know, we should be addressing that at the time it's occurring. I mean, if we're saying this is something 4 years later
I
from the
know.
prior.
So when I started and I was asking Donna, like, what do we do with this? She said, well, if we can't figure it out, we'll just leave it. And that's what we did. Because I didn't know how to correct Ann's books. And so I stopped using the account. I dropped the account and opened a new account because I didn't want to be caught up in the fact that there's such a big discrepancy this whole time I'm using it. So I literally zeroed the account.
So,
I don't know if that's the right thing to do. I mean, I don't think that's the right thing to do at all.
I understand, what you're
I know-
saying, but there was not any way for me to go back and find out how is that supposed to get.
getting in the weeds, and I
Yes.
know it's complicated in the weeds, but I think the weeds are important if I can try to explain it. So the difference is, we have known that there has been a difference between,
Right.
but it's, the accountant has more money than the treasurer is saying she has in her account, not less. This is saying that the treasurer has more. So the treasurer, Nicole, not to be personal, but Nicole signed what she had in bank accounts as of June 30th, 2024. She
Which,
didn't communicate all those bank accounts with the auditor. That's why he's saying it's 24,000 more. She did not even explain to them that, oh, we have these two accounts that are outstanding because we've not done anything. But those two accounts increased in negative while Nicole was treasurer. I don't know why they increased. So nothing is agreeing. The auditor is not even agreeing with the cash certified with the Department of Revenue.
and that was $4,991,913. That's for fiscal '24. That's what was signed for the DOR. Am I correct? And according to what you had, that number was not on. That's what, almost close to $13,000 according to this number? So yeah, 13,000 doesn't sound like a lot, but with the DOR, it's $13,000. You signed off saying you had more than what we actually had. So let me just back this up for a minute, because my concern is here. The reason I brought this up was this information gets reported at a state level, correct? Okay. At what point in time does the state come in and say, we're not going to be okay with this anymore, and we're going to go ahead and, can they stop our funding?
No, so what my question was actually gonna be, because as much as I have extensive accounting experience, municipalities I normally defer to
Yep.
on. With the knowledge of this that we have to modify, does the state require us to now inform them of any changes? To correct it. Because I know on the public side, generally when you have something of this nature, depending on how material it is, you are required to have them reissue and put everything, anything that was out there, you know, they have to reissue everything.
No and yes, but let me explain. So this report will be filed with the Department of Revenue, the auditors are required to do that, they will see it, and they will notice it. They are aware that we haven't reconciled cash in like the last 8 years, but it's the opposite way. I have been expressing concern with cash reconciliation for many, many years. And so they're aware of it. What they do is they reduce our free cash, so that's hurting us. And we continue to hurt
They
us.
can do that, because that's my understanding, correct? Okay, so that's where I get concerned, because at a time, maybe from FinCom's perspective, when that's what towns are surviving on or need to get the most that they can, the last thing we want is the state saying, you can't balance your own money, so why in the world are we gonna let you balance ours or give us your money? I mean, why would they wanna do that? And can that affect our loan and interest rates too? If that happened, say that happened, can it affect?
So I can comment on that. Any type of loan interest is based on the actual audit report. So what you're seeing, so what you're
The
seeing,
big one?
there's two different ones.
Okay,
There is the audit report,
Yep.
which says, you're good. They give us thumbs up on that, on modified.
okay, good.
This is the management letter. So this is concerns that they found that didn't at the time, they did not feel it was enough to modify the audit report.
Okay,
They could have, they didn't. So it's something that a lot of times you'll see recommendations in here from accountants.
Yep.
Who will come in and say, hey, this is what we recommend doing. They may, or a company or a town may or may not make the changes. If it's something that continues to be an issue that eventually grows, it could be something that eventually does impact the audit report. That's why they issue these. Think of it as, it's like a pre-warning. It's a way to, as a way to just approach and say, hey, here's just a little flag for it.
can I ask you a question in a perspective of what you do? I mean, this was brought up 6 years ago. I mean, 6 years ago, they started saying, you aren't doing a good job. How many years do you think before an audit decides you're not good anymore because you've had 6 years, 8 years, 10 years, and the issue is going in the direction we don't want it to go, and it's.
Yeah, but part of one thing you need to consider, and I know we all have ultimate responsibility in our various roles for the town, but it is also an elected position, and we did have some issues.
Well, that was
back
brought
then.
up in here too,
Yeah.
is whether or not that's something that we should consider going forward if this is going to be an ongoing issue, whether it's elected or not. You take a duty.
Totally agree, but I'm just saying it's not straightforward.
That kind of goes back to another point in this letter, and I don't know if you guys are planning on covering, which is the financial controls. We don't have it. I tell you what they are, and that's what we go with. We don't have formal internal controls here. And the biggest problem that we have, and it goes back to the elected versus appointed, is accountability. Because the financial controls are mainly you guys, selectmen, the finance committee, treasurer, and accountant. If somebody's failing in that chain of financial oversight, it's a problem. So, and it goes back to what you were just bringing up about elected versus appointed, okay? If it's an appointed position, the board of selectmen have the ultimate oversight, so if there's a problem, it can be resolved in other ways. If it's an elected position, you can't.
I don't know if that's 100% accurate.
We went through it
One
with
of the
Dave Blau.
recommendations they made in there was that we should consider some kind of a policy and procedure handbook.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. But it's a lot.
Elected people are considered employees.
Elected is not.
It's not.
Look it up.
So
They're
we went through
considered
this with
employees.
people.
That's why they can get benefits.
Well, yes, it's because they fall under a specific statute.
My
That's
point
it.
is, the only thing they can't do with an elected versus appointed person is fire that person. The voters can do that. But they can tell that person, you took the job, and here's the handbook that we expect. Part of, in the treasurer's handbook at the state, and even I think in our bylaws, it talks about the treasurer, and I'm not trying to pick on anybody, because this hasn't been done since we've been a town probably. But the treasurer and the board of selectmen are supposed to formulate an investment plan. And, you know, things like when she needs to borrow from our own money, there's a procedure for that where she's supposed to come and talk to you.
So
It's a bylaw.
We-
If she doesn't do it, that doesn't mean you have no recourse if she doesn't do it.
Now, Leo, just to kind of go back to what you're saying, okay? The employee and the person not doing it. It's because when they're elected, there's no teeth. They can make any policy they want, and it does directly impact their job. However, it's the way to enforce it. So as an elected official, unless it's knowingly and willingly breaking the law and have to go through DLS at that point.
Right.
DLS at that point.
Right.
Because there is a statute for that. But outside of that, if it's just a policy and procedure that's created by the Board of Selectmen, it's a recommendation to the treasurer. And we went through this with KP Law when I was on board, because at the time, we were going through an audit then, and we had issues with an elected official at that time. And KP Law was the one who told us, you can make whatever policy you want, but they're not accountable to you. They're accountable to the voters.
Right, and now we have televised meetings.
But
And if there's.
speaking to the
if there are
voters, and
problems
maybe I'm wrong,
Addressed.
do we have a recall vote bylaw in this town?
No, we do
So
not.
then the voters can't do anything. It's my
Only
understanding.
at the next election, basically.
Correct. But if there is an issue in the middle of this, am I wrong? Am I right? I'm just making sure I understand here.
And I'm just proposing,
Yeah.
if a policy or set of policy is promulgated by the board and agreed upon by the individual department, no matter who it is, whether they're elected or appointed, can that agreement become an enforceable kind of thing, I guess is what I'm throwing out there? If it's
I don't think so.
written and agreed upon by both parties that this is how things should be done, I grant that you can't fire, but can you, to use a colloquial term, hold someone's feet to the fire, so to speak, saying, you agree, and you're not doing this. And although there may be no teeth, there's certainly, come election time, there's information for people to make judgment on. That this and such was not being done during this individual's tenure, you need to know this. It's not libel, it's not slander, it's something that comes down to quantifiable information.
So
And I'm sorry I didn't come up, but I need.
moving forward, we have an audit for fiscal year 26 that we're going to be doing. Correct? Okay, so between now and when the auditors show up, is there anything we can do with this 24,000 that is outstanding that, you know, going back, going forward, zeroing something out, adding something, doing something? How do we fix that 24,000? I see that the warrant 52, that was a mistake for that year. Hopefully that wouldn't happen again. The $65,809 in outstanding checks. There's a sum of those.
Most of those cleared. It was.
Right, but can you identify the ones that are more than a year old and what action can we take on that? And at $24,387, is there action we can take on all, a large portion or some of that so that it's not showing up again and again and again? I hate to spend $28,000 every year and get the same exact management letter.
Well, and then not do anything about it either, Randy. That's the other
But
part.
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
That's my thing.
What is the action that we can take on the outstanding checks and the unreconciled variance?
I can recreate the wheel from prior and then see how close I can get to actual cash and then see what I can give Donna so that she can make sure that her books and my books are closer.
Do we
Do
want?
the records exist, or are they certain ones, like we were having a hard time from your predecessor finding information?
So you have some of them.
I don't know what to say. I'm very perplexed that we're going back and saying that this is an and problem. Very perplexed, but that's.
I'm not saying it's a problem, Don. I'm just saying if we have to figure out where it's coming from, even if it's minimal, is that even possible, given what we know about the condition of various records? Probably not. Probably not. So
I think maybe the bigger address problem that I have is how do we go forward that we make sure that these books are being balanced, that they're having communication, that we're making sure monthly. This should not be the auditor comes in once a year and realizes all these issues have been going on for a year. This should be, they meet monthly and they see an issue and that issue gets addressed, not, oh, pushed aside. I don't, so what do we do?
No, but that's two separate issues, Amber, because I think what Andy was saying is how can we fix this? And that was sort of my question.
Okay,
How
but
can you fix that?
So we have that amount, but there's a bigger issue, Bob. That amount is a dollar amount that's been apparently sticking around for what I'm being told, how many years now? The issue is, how do we make sure that our books are balanced?
But it's two separate things, yeah, because now we've asked folks to meet monthly and to do those things.
We asked, but no one's agreed upon. Yeah, like there's no policy.
Okay,
there's
so
nothing.
we then need to address that, but then, once we have that as a policy, you'll never reconcile if there's always a question. So I was trying to answer that, get to the numbers to match too, because I like numbers when they match.
Directly, but
If you're month to month.
Thank you.
Yep.
And knowing that that other amount is sitting there.
Yep.
But you're reconciling.
everything else.
That's not
That
impacting
number
that
should be
other
the
amount.
same.
That number should be the same.
That's what I'm trying to say.
As long as you're reconciling.
I agree with that 100%. I'm just worried it's going to affect free cash at some point, or there's going to be some other negative that, does it make sense to follow it?
It can't be recreated and it
That
can't
would
be fixed.
Donna, wouldn't that be a year-to-year thing?
That's a year-to-year thing, yes, yes.
So in other words, if we were short at the end of this fiscal year, they would balance it by reducing our free cash, or is that the oversimplifying?
Again, I guess I'm trying to make clear, but I don't think I am. The auditor is saying the bank statements are higher.
So we have more money than we
But
do.
That's not, it is actually lower, but because the auditor was not notified of these other two bank accounts. So we actually have less money than what I say. But there's, and so yes, we need to go forward. And so, going back, I have struggled with, are you done? Have you been reconciled? And in March, 6 months past was changed and then I was not notified. I had to recreate all 6 months in that I thought those 6 months were done. There was no email. I made these changes. It was a nightmare for me. It has been a nightmare here trying to reconcile cash for way too long. And the last few years have been just as bad as they were. So, but we do need to, I want to go forward. I want this to be different and to be, and we need to have some sort of policy that Nicole agrees on, elected or not, that we all are comfortable with. And it can't be making changes and not communicating with me and expecting me to be the mind reader into what was changed.
So if we were to make a motion that said, for example, that just to get it started, so we don't have to wait 6 months for a policy, but establish a policy that the treasurer and the accountant met monthly and provided a summary of that reconciliation to the board and to the FinCom, does that at least help establish something moving forward?
Excuse me 1 second. Do you feel, in your experience down the site, monthly, what's required?
Monthly is required in every community. Yeah.
I'm just asking.
Yes,
I just didn't
yes.
know if our volume was small enough where you could say, if we did it every 2 months.
No,
Because I know if there's a discrepancy, it's easier to find it in, if you only have 1 month.
Yeah.
Well, Leo, actually, I can address one of those things.
Mhm.
You don't want it to be bi-weekly because of banking laws. You have 60 days from the date your statement drops to dispute an item, or they do not have to do it. So if you find an error 60 days after your statement, or 61 days beyond your statement end date,
Yeah,
no bank has to
Okay.
refund you the money.
Alright.
So if there's an issue.
yeah.
For instance, if we're talking April 1st, would you be reconciling February's books or would you be reconciling January's books? Or could you reconcile March's books on April 1st? Probably not because there's too much outstanding, but how would that?
in communities that I have worked for, where both positions are doing, on a regular basis, by the 15th or 20th of the following month. So April 20th, I would be done with March. July 20th, I would be done with June.
What were you gonna say?
And I would recommend that in policy too, within 30 days of the statement.
Well, that's what I'm saying, within 30 days. So on April 1st, you could both agree upon the reconciliation of February.
But why do something different than what matches up with policy? If we say by
Well, I'm
April
saying
20th, they
30
could do
that's
March.
30 days.
No, but
Well,
what
that's,
monthly reconciliation for the prior month?
that brings it right down to the wire. But if you're saying 30 days, it gives everybody a little bit of leeway.
Well, it's 20 days after the month closes.
Right, but if you go 30 days, you make sure everybody's got their ducks in a row.
But then you're going 50 if you wait till the
Yeah.
20th.
No, it should be,
Stick with the monthly, like everybody, when you used to have a checkbook and you'd get your statements, my wife would to the penny, and if it was off a penny, she'd drive her nuts. Sorry, honey.
You're being
For
recorded.
more than 50 years, but I mean, I'm to the penny every month, but you know, it's just, that's.
Yeah, and a lot of people are, Andy, so we
10
should stick
checks,
with it.
not
Yeah.
600 a month.
So if we put something forward, like Bob said tonight, is that a start at least?
Yeah.
Is that a start, just to see how it goes?
When
Because-
was the last time they were reconciled?
So reconciled as in against the bank
The
statement.
two of you guys sat down and agreed on the numbers.
Oh, we-
Or
We have never sat down. We do have different hours, but we have a file that we share.
Yeah.
And I never know when Nicole will put in anything. I never know. I've sent emails. It appears you're done with this particular month and I have received no response to it. So
So there's two issues. There's physically doing it and then there's improving communications.
So if we have a
Probably important.
policy that they will reconcile by the 20th of the month for the previous month, and if any changes are made after that point, there'll be notifications made
Writing.
with a CC to somebody so that somebody's keeping track. So that if you're sending on the 23rd, I found something, I'm making a difference, and you CC it to the accountant, you know, at least there's a tracking there. And if you go back and say, I screwed up in November and it's March, you know, there should be like all capitals.
I made an oops here, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, it's got to be communicated much better. Same thing, if you say, I'm looking at your February's books and you're in November, first of all, why are you looking at February's now? But I found something in February and you bring it to somebody's attention. Should it be CC'd to anybody besides those two? I mean, you know, you get into some financial situations where, you know.
I think for where we are, Andy, we should get an email every month by the 21st that just says, hey, guys, we've met and, you know, this
Confirming
is
that the
addressed.
meetings
You've
happen.
met or you've actually shared.
Because of all the
file,
things that
whatever.
we talked about with FinCom and fiscal 28 and what we're up against, I think Amber makes a great point about getting our ducks in a row.
All right, so would anyone like to make that policy as a motion?
Real quick, through the chair, I'd be happy to help draft anything, you know, use
All
my.
right, we can do that. So would you like to make a motion on a
At
policy
least,
for?
So I'd ask that we have, I'll make a motion that the treasurer and the accountant meet to reconcile the books no later than the 20th day of the month following the month closure, and that a report be provided to the Board of Selectmen as to the outcome of that action, and to the Finance Committee as well.
You want to add that if there's anything changed after that, they communicate?
I mean, I guess that would come up in the following month, so to me, it's a
Well, I
little
mean,
bit.
if you wanted to make that motion, and then we can have another motion that, okay.
Yeah, I'll second your motion.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Do you both understand what the motion was? That,
I do. I mean, I don't think that we can confirm that we will meet in person, but we certainly will communicate.
you will
You figure it out, I'm not,
have the reconciliation,
And I'm
okay.
hopeful that that was understood.
Yep.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, now,
Do you have a vote, Mr. Chair?
I said aye.
Oh, I didn't hear you. You said, okay, now I didn't hear aye.
No, I was just asking if we should just, and maybe you guys can be adults about it and we can figure this out, but if someone makes a change in a timely manner, notify each other, you know, not 3 months later. Is a week good? Whatever it is, you know, just try to be on top of that so that this doesn't get forgotten about.
And if you get a CC so that we see just how often that happens.
The reconciliations.
Yep.
Both copies should be maintained.
100% I agree with that because it's mentioned everywhere.
And the reason why is because one, public records law, two, it also identifies there, this is what was filed, this is what the change is. So that in the case of when auditors come in,
They have
you can
both.
see where the correction was made, because they're gonna be looking for the who, what, when, where, why.
I think, if I could interject with that too, it's statements should be in paper form. They haven't been in state, they've been electronic. So I think there should be a file that has everything in it for that month, in paper form, in hard, and I believe that's what they're referencing.
They are asking for both, and I would agree with that. I do think those should be on both hard and soft copies.
And maintained in perpetuity, basically, as financial records, right?
Okay, so you're the motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that reconciliation of cash statements are both in, or any business of reconciliation of cash is both in paper and computer form, and that they're available.
I thought you were gonna do one about the,
Oh, no, I won't. I think they can handle that. If it becomes an issue, we will have to amend your policy, your.
right, so she has a motion.
Sure.
I'll second Amber's
Okay,
motion.
we have a motion and a second to keep all paper copies into perpetuity. All those in favor?
I,
Andy, are you still going to keep going through this letter? Because I'd like to touch on a couple issues on the next page too, if we can, at least on.
I was just looking at
Yeah.
the rest of this, the Massachusetts.
can I just ask one more
property.
question, Bob, before we move on?
Absolutely, yeah.
Kind of same thing. So regarding accounts and things we're talking about in this letter, and Bob, maybe you were going to touch on it or not. But can I just ask for my own business, where's our current stabilization accounts? Like, where are our accounts sitting? Is it one bank? Is it one lump sum? How is it set up?
We have several. We have some at Cornerstone, some at Unibank, some at Hometown.
Okay,
So we have several different ones. We have like an ambulance stabilization.
I saw that, yeah.
General stabilization. There's the equipment stabilization, the education. So we've got quite a few in different places.
And how is like, what is our capability of earning interest on things that we have the capability? Are we earning max interest? Are we making sure we're doing that?
With interest significantly better than ever as far as that goes, mostly because interest rates have gone up. And I've been a little bit careful about making sure interest is much higher. So we do earn upwards of $5,000 a month in interest just on those accounts. So
I just want to make sure we're staying with that, considering the times that we're getting the max of what we can.
yeah, I mean, if the interest rates start to go down, then the accounts, it will happen when the interest rates go down, but I have to keep up with that.
Okay. All right, Bob, did you want to talk about?
Do you have anything more on that page, Andy, that
Not-
concerned you? So
I did just one thing, the payroll.
Okay.
So as obviously HR too, I had some questions about the payroll stuff they brought up. In particular was that they stated that they reviewed the accrual reports for the payroll system, noting that there are several terminated employees who are still maintaining the payroll system. And so it wasn't clear to them if they were paid out for any compensation they have, lack of, it's not just your fault either, but lack of our policies. So how is that going? Are we trying to manage that better? Why are we sticking with people who shouldn't be there?
One of the things that unfortunately happens, is people come in and out. So there were some people that I removed from the payroll system and then I had to add back to the payroll system because they came back the next year for like summer camps or summer stuff at the parks. So there were quite a few people. I've recently removed people who hadn't been paid in 2 years.
Okay.
So there's a significantly smaller payroll list now. And it is difficult with like the people who come like and they're on boards and they get paid twice a year and I'll see them there and I'll think, are they supposed to be there? And then I see them on payroll, yep, they're supposed to be there. So there are some people, there were some police too, where we have part-timers that maybe don't work here very often and once in a while they'll come in and do some shifts, but for the most part now, I don't think we have too many terminated people. There might be 1 or 2 that I don't know if they're coming back or if they should be removed, but.
Actually, I have a question for you on that. Is there a way in our payroll system to designate by department
Yeah,
and then use the department heads or the boards
and
to
just
your
say,
advantage and say, hey,
yeah,
these are
Who's on
our
there?
guys'
I
employees.
have done that recently.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
I was going to suggest every 6 months or something, doing that similar thing to reconcile, because we've been trying for a couple of years to even get people to come tell us when they hire new folks in town. Without, you know.
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm asking, like, is there something that you could use or have that would make it easier to get this on a better tracking system for you?
I
'Cause-
think we're pretty good now.
Okay,
Because I think we have about 50 people who get paid regularly. And then there are some people who get paid sporadically because they're on committees and whatever. And then there are summer people and kids, the library has turnover rate like a revolving door, so I don't really know. about
that's
that.
true.
Either do we.
It's, but for the most part, I think that we're okay right now.
Okay.
For that very reason, because I got tired of seeing a lot of names that I never used. So,
Not that we want to go backwards, but there was an audit about 12 years ago that we had a management letter that I had looked at, and one of the items that they had listed, and I had talked to you about it, but we never made it formal. On July 1st every year, could the treasurer give the Board of Selectmen, as the highest authority in town, a list of everybody who's on the payroll and their current pay rate? That was one of the things going back to, this
Yep.
was
Yep.
3 or 4 management letters ago.
Yep.
Just to say, you know, this is, you know, how much does Chris Foley make, just to pick him out? How much does the lieutenant make? How much does?
So is it a list of
paramedic
employees or their salaries, Andy?
It is. It's a
both.
list of employees and what their current
And their
salary is.
Okay.
We have
All sources?
from all sources, because we have a full-time paramedic who is also the EMT coordinator. I don't know if he's the EMT supplies officer anymore, whether he's, I don't know who the fire, it's not an inspector, but there's a fire prevention officer. So I mean, you know, at the end of the year, you say, hey, I've discussed it with you. A lot of the towns have it in their annual report. So you can look up and say, you know, Mike Siri from Brookfield, he is the town clerk, and he is the solid waste agent, and he is the cemetery commissioner. This is what he makes from the town of Brookfield. So we have Chief Messier, he's the fire chief, and he's also the EMS coordinator. He's also the MEMA coordinator, you know, who is the tree warden. So it's just everybody here's, it's public record. And, you know, who's doing what, who's
And
making
we
what.
wouldn't know what you said Brookfield, I think you might have misspoke. You meant what Mike Siri does in East
No,
Brookfield.
Brookfield, in the town of Brookfield, if you look at their annual town report, and it shows how much Mike Siri makes, you go,
You
oh,
were
wait
just
a
mixing
second.
back and forth between
Right.
the two.
But
Okay.
in their annual town report,
Yep.
it lists an individual, and you're like, wow, he makes out pretty good. Well, he's not just the town clerk, he's also the
Sure.
solid waste agent, he's also the cemetery commissioner.
I just was trying to clarify
As-
what you were
As we
saying.
look at our employees, there's some employees that have multiple roles, so that we can see who's making what. It wouldn't include details, of course, but at least that would be.
Andy, and I don't know if you remember this from when I was on, but to go down the benefits rabbit hole, are you guys aware that you guys are supposed to be monitoring the health insurance rules every year? That's a Mass General law. KP Law brought that to our attention.
Is that one that they can?
And we're actually surprised.
that they can-
Mhm.
We're supposed to be looking at, which was brought up before, when we weren't sure who was getting health insurance,
Mhm.
who was on the roll. The selectmen are supposed to be overseeing it, auditing it, and at a minimum.
Yeah, we've seen it, I don't know if we.
Recently, we saw that
We've
with,
seen it,
with Maya came in maybe and
Yeah.
went through that whole summer. So we have seen it recently, Sean, but I don't know that we have it as a policy
Just
yet.
bring it to your attention,
Yeah.
it's, you know, it was something that was brought up.
Yeah. Did you say you had something on the next?
Yeah, I was just, on the next page, I had 2 or 3 comments or questions. So I've always kind of questioned the ambulance receivables situation, and Chief's explained it a couple of times, and I think I understand. You know, part of my concern is maintaining an ambulance for the town, because I believe it's very important. And I'm wondering, is there more that we need to do there to help the chief out or help out the EMS department with doing some of this reconciliation and understanding what is or isn't there? Because I think the chief was struggling with it a little bit in terms of how he was reporting the information. And I believe he's expressed that concern to us in the past, if I
Right,
remember
he's
correctly.
got quite a few on the books from years ago that he was looking. It does note that there was a write-off in January 2024. I remember that. I don't know how many other outstanding invoices there are. I know when an insurance company sends a check, for instance, they have a call that's $3,500. The insurance company says, we'll give you 28. And they say, okay, 28 it is. And they write off the other 7.
Yeah, so if we've only done that once in several years, do we have an issue there?
I get the receivables report
Mhm.
from Comstar, if that's something that you would like to see.
Just, you know, if we could get a report on outstanding,
Sure,
you know,
yeah.
and how old they are.
60, 90
Yeah.
plus, yeah.
Because it seems like it's always a question, right? We're always waiting to see what that number is and then plan for the budgets, as I remember for the last several years.
What they're reconciling, they're here, it not, has nothing to do with the cash that we have, that this is saying that
This is the,
yeah.
Right, so for financial statements for, and also for private, you have to have a.
Say that again, Sean, I'm sorry.
It's for doubtful accounts.
Okay.
It's a contra asset to accounts receivable.
Yep.
So basically you report 200,000 outstanding, but on average, 10,000 you don't get.
So 5% of it's,
190.
yeah. Yep.
So that's what they're referencing in here, is that contra asset account. Is they're saying we don't really have anything there.
and we kind of reconcile after the fact is what I've seen in, or play catch up with some of the accounting after the fact. Reconcile is maybe the wrong word, but.
So like whatever's outstanding, it's reviewing that aging receivables because there should be some sort of an offset percentage. Is that's kind of what they're saying here.
And I would think that that moving forward would be important to us, especially if we're looking at some budget challenges and we're trying to maintain an ambulance, having a better sense of that. Yep, Mark.
It also is important to understand, you employ a vendor to do this collection process. I think it would be important to understand how aggressively they pursue, and to what time frame. An example, I have a family member who incurred some considerable medical costs back in March. $3,500 ambulance situation. The insurance company paid $1,500. They got a bill and they have paid a bill for the balance. How aggressive are we, how aggressive is Comstar in pursuing these things? Agreed, some people just can't pay it. That's evident in many cases. But for those, I don't think we should be just saying, well, insurance covered 15 or 18 or 2,800, and that's it. We need to be assured, I guess, maybe we are doing it, but we need to be assured that there is a balanced billing going out and then an aggressive process to collect that balance.
I don't think Comstar does that, do they? They don't do follow-up. If they send out a bill and it doesn't get paid,
Well,
they don't do
I
collection.
think frankly, we're leaving money on the table if we're not
I
acquiring or asking.
remember some discussion about collections agency. I don't know how they, I'm not aware of it. So if we could get a report on outstanding balances, if we have it, and see where they're at, how old they are, and what.
People are people.
Yeah.
Insurance company paid this, and I never got another bill. I never got another notice.
So Greg,
Okay.
Greg,
And some will pay because that's, they have the ability to do it. Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
that report would not be public.
No, I'm just,
That's medical related.
yeah. I'm just trying to get ahead of it a little bit because I see it as also being an issue.
The accountant, the treasurer, and the police chief all get every month. So
Fire.
that report is monthly.
Fire chief.
What did I say? I'm sorry.
Please.
Thank you for correcting me.
And then I guess the last two items, the closing checklists and the accounting and policies and procedures. One of the things I was thinking as we were talking earlier is, do we want to get the Department of Revenue to come in and help us and to try to do some of this work versus maybe having to engage somebody on our own? I guess this is before we had some of the conversation we've had, but if we want to try to balance the books, do we want to ask for help? And is that proactive and maybe help us with an issue in the future because I don't know, come clean maybe isn't the right word, but we've come and asked for help to try to reconcile a problem we've identified.
I'm wondering just the means of like policies and procedures. We obviously have talked about this as a board.
Yep.
I know you, when you were on your board, tried really hard and tried to get some of this done, but maybe if that's something they could offer to just give advice or set it up or
It
get.
says they have tools and whatnot for those policies, so maybe they have a town policy, for example.
Yes.
Yeah.
My guess is we are not the only ever.
No, that's
Same exact
like,
thing.
even if
Are
they
there
could.
templates? Are there sample
Let's go.
policies and procedures that they have available that we can build? And it's simply an ask.
Is it something we ask our state representative or our state senator to have maybe help us set up a meeting, Andy, to get somebody to come in?
Well, we could reach out to the local services of the Massachusetts Department of Revenue and see if they have a generalized policy that we could look at, if they start talking about, the mayor or the town manager or
We can change
things
that.
that are outside of our scope, we can change. But I mean, if they just have a general policy, if you could reach out to them and see if they just have a handbook or some 2-page policy that we could look at and customize to our needs.
Through the chair, I imagine the Mass Municipal Association would have abundant resources on the matter.
That's a good point. Thank you.
Sharon and I were just talking about that last week, that they actually can help you literally make your policy and procedures and set them up and be like, this is a recommendation we make for you guys.
It's kind of like using a contract that somebody else has used, or, a couple of times
I
we've
think
tried
it's
to do that.
I think it's a starting point, like you said, Bob, at least.
Plagiarization, yeah, I'm all for it. Did we have warrants for tonight, Donna?
Thank you very much,
Do
guys.
we need to go through anything else? You guys good?
Thank you.
No, the email that I had sent earlier, just totally disregard that. I was looking at the wrong fiscal year.
Neil's coming on.
Good.
We're like, what now?
Now.
I'm old.
So there are 3 warrants because the list, and then
Hi, guys.
we have our first community, block grant,
Thanks, Phil.
but there's 2 of them. So they also want you to sign, so they need copies, this is like their cover sheet, if you will, they want you to sign that, and then this is for us.
I wanted to ask Nicole one thing about. Yeah, Sean,
Hey, Sean.
is Nicole right there?
Nicole, come back in. So this warrant, isn't this what we just looked at, where they're gonna pay this out of their own funding?
Yeah,
No, the checks come from us, but we have to give them the funding comes to us, and then we're gonna give them the checks.
So they submit a request, kind of like the SRF, they submit a request, the money gets deposited to our account, and then we pay them. That's not what we talked about before, Andy, we said it goes right through them. That's what I just want to make sure.
Get all funds from Friends of the Community for the fireworks? Was that all deposited,
It was
everything
all
in
deposited, yeah, from what I received, all the cash.
from what you received? Okay, that's,
It was pretty significant
Yeah.
from past years, it was. they did a
Oh,
great
above and
job.
beyond, oh, really? That's,
we're gonna have them in on the 3rd or 10th. We don't know yet, just to see how they did.
And Jen
Oh.
actually requested next year that we set something up because there was so much cash coming in. She was uncomfortable having it there, so I've already talked to the chief
Yes,
about.
that's
her
what we
being
do a
able to
dispense affair. We have the police department bring it,
Bring it in, put
Yeah.
it in a lockbox or something.
whether they bring it to you or they put it in the night
Right.
deposit box at the bank, one or the other. So
And I.
just so that there's not a attache case with $5,800 sitting around the fire station.
it is, or I thought we had, I thought Andy signed something.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that you did get a deposit and you were comfortable.
Let's wait.
Just what,
So Andy, what did you sign earlier for? Can I have that one back? G, I want to make sure too.
It was a $13,000 and a $3,400, but we're under the impression that this was
13 and 37. See,
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to say, Andy.
Yeah, 13,
They don't
37. It was
pay
just
it.
a,
But you had said, I thought we had said previously that they submit a request and it gets paid directly to them. That's really not the case. They submit a request, it comes to us and we pay them. And you're comfortable that everything's set up that way, Donna, so that it works for you?
yes, so the reason why Sharon is being copied is because in essence, she's the department head and should be sending it to me with, just like she does her own bills, right? But it's the first time it came through, all 3 of us are on it. And I'm okay putting it together, but you guys need to sign it here because we need to provide that back to them.
So you signed a bill that said,
this right here
Yep.
is what I just signed. And this is where Amber had asked Mr.
Andrew said he
Lowe.
met with you and Nicole and gave you guys the
So-
layout of payment, so you know exactly when they're coming, and
Right, so
you just need Andy's signature was
we
what you said.
spoke with Andrew Lowe today regarding how invoices are managed for fiscal year 25 CDBG. CMRPC will send invoices to the town for the BOS to review and for the chair to sign, which we did.
yep,
The town will not pay for these invoices using general funds. Mr. Lowe met with Donna and Nicole last week regarding a payment. A separate account has been established for the grant funds. Nicole and Donna received a spreadsheet detailing the schedule of when grant funds should be deposited into this account. CMRPC invoices and any other invoice contractually linked to this grant, such as the agencies who will be conducting the studies, will be paid for by grant funds. So the source of funding for these is the grant or from general fund?
Nope, right.
Okay, so this is just
See?
the formality.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
this is a formality. It's not paid for general fund. So we
It's not-
signed the
that
bill.
That wasn't the concern, it was the process, Andy, that I
Right.
had, because the way it was explained 2 weeks ago or last week at the meeting is they were gonna have the money and get the money, and this is more, a better check and balance in my mind.
Right.
You sign a bill that says it's okay, they then submit it, the money comes to us and we pay them.
Correct.
That's not
But
how
it's
we talked
not
about
paid
it.
out of general fund.
Yeah, I knew that. I
So
knew
it's
it was
paid
But
for.
if you sign that and don't provide that back to us, that's why it needs to be with the warrant process.
So what had happened, Sharon?
Do I do a voucher still? though?
Yes, that's what I was trying to get to. So
Submit this as a voucher, because they did it for a sheet already. That's what we had her sign, Tim sign.
Well, I'm not gonna do a voucher.
I don't think you need to if they're gonna submit it just like that.
If you're gonna throw it to the,
I'm on the email, I don't need copies of
Is there a
it.
signed one by them?
she has it right here.
no, she doesn't.
Oh, this
Yeah.
one you want.
That's what I was looking for, Nicole, Amber earlier, was to make sure that Donna had the signed one, because it's like any other bill, Sharon, that gets paid, right? She gets a request.
That's all, that was all part, that's all part of the email, yes, I know.
So
That's all
Okay,
part,
so you got it
that's
all?
all part of that, yes.
do you
Okay.
need a signature page, Donna, that Andy signed?
Right here, isn't that?
Right, but she has another one that I already signed right there.
That's
But
the
it's
original
two.
signed.
Then here's the other one he signed. Those are the two he signed today.
Okay. So this is the first one for this grant. In the future, I don't need to sign these. I just sign this one.
Well, so
Okay.
I'm not sure, do they need all three, or, but see, it says by all board of selectmen, so I took that as they want all.
And we can sign all three, that doesn't necessarily matter. I'm not, what I wanted to make sure is,
Yeah,
so
I'm-
if Sharon gives this to us to sign, it would show up on a warrant next week, for example, if Andy
If you
signed it
wanted to
today.
wait a week, then we can do it that way too. That's fine. This is-
Okay.
Just
yeah.
otherwise, you don't lose getting a signed copy. That's what I was trying to figure out, Donna, right, is if we just signed it,
So instead of doing that, for all the rest of the ones coming forward,
Yep.
we'll do it this way. You'll have the warrant and the signature.
and we'll sign both.
All of us sign this, all of us sign that.
I'm fine with that too, Andy. I'm fine with that
Just
too.
so that everybody's on the same
Makes it
page.
easier for Donna.
Okay, whatever makes it easiest. All right.
I think it'll make the process go quicker.
But hold on a second, so when we sign this, how does CMRPC get a copy of the signed one?
Then we scan it, Nicole will scan it back, because she has to mail them the actual checks.
Okay,
We print the checks. So actually, it probably isn't even gonna be scanned. She's gonna have to mail it back to them. Or they're gonna pick up in town. They thought they might be in town on a
Enough.
regular basis.
so they get their copy back of the signed one for their records whenever they come to town and
Yes.
get it. Okay,
So that's that one.
all right, Andy, so we're good with that? Now, we understand what we gotta do?
Okay,
There's mud.
okay, good. Yeah, it's our first one, and this is,
Well,
there's
the
a lot of
SRF was an
paperwork.
issue, so I wanted to first sign both
I
pages.
didn't make a mistake. I only signed one.
You signed both pages on both?
I only signed one.
Hey, that was me last week. I gotta remember.
Keep going, keep digging. There's a cover page and then, yeah, there you go.
So there, I did leave a note on the payroll too, so there's not enough funding and longevity, so it's not included here, so you guys can take a note.
For last year.
Yeah, this is fiscal
Okay.
26, yes. All right, you did with me?
I think we are done, thank you.
You done?
Appreciate that.
Was there one more thing?
Johnny, did you hear back from Mr. Hinckley?
I did.
He's really great.
And I sent it today, and he responded in 15.
So the running joke is we think he just doesn't give up his phone or his email.
Yeah, he works constantly, so he says I'm on, I haven't logged back in.
He's usually really good,
But
so.
he said he had fixed it, and perfect,
Thank you.
thank you.
So when I met with the auditors, they said that the audit will only catch about 4%
Yeah, you were.
of the fraudulent activity. 85% of all fraudulent activity will be caught by when we sign these warrants. So I take time to look at them
Oh, yeah, I always add up the math because I.
and
I saw 'em
just
early once.
to look.
Yep.
To see who's getting what and when.
What's the issue with longevity that you mentioned, Andy? Do we need to do we need to add
It's
funding?
short. So the available budget is 88,6492 and the voucher total is 10,658.37. And we are after the 15th of July, so that would have to be put on the upcoming special that we're gonna have in the fall.
So there's another article we need to
Well,
have.
the question is, do we need to add the difference? Can she encumber the 84, or does it all go back into free cash and we have to make a motion for the whole 10.6?
Well, can't you pay the 84?
Well, that's-
Yeah,
Well, who do you pay? Or do you pay a portion of it?
you pay a portion, but you
I
short
don't
pay it
know.
basically.
I don't know.
Want to go ask her?
Yeah, if we could ask her whether or not she can encumber that or short pay it, or if we have to have the total amount. You see what I'm saying, Emma?
Mhm.
I got somebody's agenda here too. I'm not sure whose that is. Is that yours, Amber?
Nope.
Or Andy?
No,
Mine.
Sorry.
got to add it to the clip.
Okay, so, Amber, you need to sign these
That one, yep.
and that's Amber. I will go check with her on this.
Thank you. See ones.
CMRPC on this. Don't want to get, so I don't have to do anything about it. It's gonna come in as a warrant.
That's what she said.
That's it.
Yep.
Save the process.
Correct, Andy? Just to make sure,
What's that?
going forward, these will come in as a warrant.
Yeah.
She does not need to
So
print or
that,
do
that
anything.
portion we did at the beginning, we don't need to do because Don will take care of it.
There you go.
I'm
Confirmed.
right there.
But it is clear that it's not that we have to pay it from the general fund and then it is reimbursed. The grant funding is there. So there's a grant account that we have. The total amount that the grant was for has been deposited into that account and now we just,
And they have a payment schedule, I was
they have a
told.
payment schedule, yeah. If you recall, it's $50,000 that CMRPC gets and then there's so much for the ADA study, so much for the facility study and so much for the infrastructure study. Yeah.
Do you have was there a folder for the CMRPC ones or did she just hand them to
They
you?
were just handed.
Okay.
Doesn't that go in that folder?
I'll just put them on top of
Okay.
it, yeah. Did you do any folders?
Nope, I
Okay.
haven't got them both done there. I'll send them this way.
There's a third one, I don't know where it went. Oh, okay, those are those two, he's got the third one,
That's a longevity one, right?
yeah.
So I talked to Donna about it, and either way would work. You could not pay it and then it'd go to free cash and show back up again. Or she can pay based on what's left in the account. And then our article at the special would be to make up the difference.
Okay.
To me, I think that's a better option because
Yeah,
the
at
employees
least
get
they
the
would
benefit
get
of the
a
money.
portion of the longevity.
So-
Now, going back to
Can
the
I
actual
just finish one
longevity
thing?
policy that I actually,
Let's finish this first, Andy, and then we'll jump to the policy. So this has an amount of 10,850, right? What she's gonna do is pay everybody the percentage
the percentage,
less
right, so if we have 85%
She
of
wanted
it,
us
she'll pay 85% of
to
it.
every employee,
Right.
and then do it now, and then everybody will get the 15% when we have the
Got it.
special. I just wanted to clarify
Have you
that.
seen the longevity policy itself?
I can't recall if I have. or not.
I sat on that committee, I believe it was myself, Mark Carpentier, Ted Boulay, there was a third person, maybe Larry Gordon. The longevity policy states that the longevity will be paid at such and such a rate for how much time you have, pending available funds.
So the policy for the longevity is that only if the money's available,
Correct.
basically. Okay.
So when the discussion happens, we do owe for last year, however, the funds weren't available. So if at some point in time, we don't have the funding, then we don't pay the full amount.
Okay.
I would recommend that we would add it at the next special, but
I do too. I think so.
Yeah, I agree.
all right. We did not make any appointments to Toys for Joy. Would we like to discuss that?
That was the issue where everybody was out of town, Andy, and no
Well,
one.
it was at one point in time, as I understand it, I have no firsthand knowledge, but it was at one point in time, the East Brookfield, Toys for Joy. It is now just East Brookfield. Brookfield no longer has it. As I understand it, after last Christmas, all material that Brookfield had was transferred to our Toys for Joy room, and all material is in our town hall right now. What do we want to do moving forward? We haven't made any appointments. Do we want to review the entire program, what we're doing, how we're doing it? Or do we just want to make appointments? What's your pleasure?
So my perspective is if we've got people who are volunteering to help out kids, anybody in need, that's not a bad thing. We should try to encourage that. That, and whether they're in town or not, to me is not that important. I guess, is it something as a program we want to continue, right? And then to me, I
Well, we
don't
should
care where they're
probably
from.
put out a need, maybe through YouTube, that we're looking for volunteers from town or from anywhere that would like to be involved in that particular program.
Fair enough.
We
And then make
had,
appointments based on that.
we had quite
Thank
a
you.
few people in the past on that committee and it has dwindled. You know, I was recipient of the very first Toys for Joy, 1967. The fire department brought some gifts to our house shortly after my mother's death, and I think it's a very good program.
I support it as well.
So, I mean, it's an important program, but it's kind of petered out over the years as far as the volunteerism goes. So, I mean, if we could get somebody to, a little more involvement in the community, in the committee, that would be great.
Does anything, are we, if we wait for, till our next meeting or the meeting after that to see if anybody follows up with
Absolutely,
us?
yeah.
There's no, like, we're not missing anything by
No,
not having anybody in place now or anything
No.
like that as they get ready for the
We
season.
have a account balance and we have a room full of toys.
Okay.
So,
So if we wanted to give everything away at the end of the year, at the holidays, we could do that.
well, I mean, that's one of the things that we would probably want to look at. There's a lot of stuff that's been in that room for a long time. So, at some point in time, if they're not donated out to individuals, do we want to donate it out to the, what's the Marine Corps thing that they do?
Yeah. Toys for Tots.
Toys for
Toys for
Tots,
Tots.
yeah. Just to, liquidate some of the stuff that's been sitting in there. It might not be age appropriate, it might be, past. Finding Nemo is 19 years old. So, I mean, if you have any Nemos.
I love that movie.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying, there's a lot of toys, you miss the opportunity. I mean, Cars was a big thing and then
Yeah,
Cars is
exactly.
gone,
So rather than have them gather dust and have, critters maybe running through them or whatever,
Yeah.
let's freshen up everything and get rid of it all at some point too.
All right.
But let's see if we have a committee
See
to
if we
do
can
it.
get a little more community involvement in it.
Yeah. Can we have Jason put it out on the YouTube channel asking for that too? And should we ask about?
Could someone please contact us if you'd like to volunteer for.
But
Toys
make
for
it as
Joy?
a special flash,
I
too.
can specifically create a clip if you kind of give me a rough idea. I can watch this and just say, hey, we're looking for volunteers, and make it just a dedicated video that I put out and then share on Facebook.
And I can have one of the residents who frequently post stuff, see if they can just put a posting on the community pages that, interested in any
And
volunteers.
specifically share the video.
Or whatever you post, they can reshare it. That's fine.
I'll send that to you and make sure it's, yeah.
So, sorry, Andy, are we done with Toys for Joy or you wanted to
Yeah.
follow up on it?
Yep.
I had a question on this payroll thing that I just happened to look at as I was looking at it. So after I signed it, but, so, James Bergeron is our plumbing inspector, right? And
He
we
was the alternate, yeah,
alternate, so that he decided he didn't want to do it anymore.
as of July
July
1st.
So we've got a request to pay him 330.
330.
So he sent in bills after he's no longer the person, or they came into the wrong month, or what's
That's
going on?
That's a good question. Was his data service before?
Like, I didn't look at the second page, I didn't even see what does his email say? Probably read it better than I can.
So this is a direct deposit return.
So why would it be a direct deposit return?
Because he was terminated.
But if we sent him a direct deposit, then a check was cut after he
I
was
would
terminated.
ask Donna exactly what. she was
Let me go find
saying.
out about that and I'll be right back.
So I just wanted to bring up the,
You want to take those?
Sorry.
Just take that to her.
on June 26th, the Board of Selectmen Administrator, Admin Specialist, Executive Assistant, spoke with the Fire Chief Coleman of Auburn, who was very helpful. Any business that required to file a MDS, it's actually MDS now, it's no longer an MDS, Tier 2 are required to self-report and should have reports on site. OSHA requires the MSDS is reportable contingent upon quantity and volume. Municipality does not enforce it. So like we're talking, Lusignan Auto Body has a solvent for their paint. They also have paints. They have grease remover, et cetera, et cetera. In their employee handbook, in their office, they have the MSDS sheets for all the stuff that they have. They get it from the manufacturer. But we don't have to maintain that. A municipality doesn't enforce it. As an example, as large as Auburn is and as industrialized as they have, they only have 20 reportable businesses. None of their car dealerships fall into the reportable events. BJ's does and Home Depot does. There are 2 examples of who fall into this category. Each February, reports are to be filed that are reportable with the town. The right to know coordinator must also report to the town emergency management director. The emergency management director should have a community emergent plan. Essentially, the right to know coordinator has been able to produce records when someone calls and says, does so-and-so store XXX chemical? The coordinator also must know where the hazardous or toxic materials are stored. So in other words, the Home Depot has a massive quantity of, say, mineral spirits, which is paint thinner. So they need to know how much is on hand. I know I was previously an employee at Flexcon, and they have a massive amount of glue and the solvents to wash the glue off the equipment. The fire department is aware of that, and there is MDS sheets, and they have a whole emergency plan for that. In East Brookfield, we don't have any massive quantities of any such material. So we wouldn't have anything on hand, but each individual, if you went to Howe Lumber and said, hey, how much mineral spirits do you have? And they will be able to tell you, we have 23 gallons right now. It's below the reportable amount, it's below what needs to go. So.
But they still would have a data sheet telling them
Correct.
what's in it.
They do, but we don't have to maintain it. That's
Because
the
it's
point.
below a certain threshold.
Below a certain threshold. So essentially, the right to know coordinator has been able to produce records when someone calls in and asks, does so-and-so store XXX chemical? So if somebody moved in across the street from Lamro Ford and said, how much parts wash do they have? The right to know coordinator could go to Lamro's and say, how much parts wash do you have? And you say, well, at any given time, we have 22 gallons of it. Here's the MSDS sheet if you would like a copy of it. So it's not that we have to maintain it, it's just they would have to know where it is and who would have it. So
it's to protect the firefighters or anybody if
Correct.
there's an issue.
It's
right?
also required that there be a local emergent planning committee, which would consist of the right to know coordinator, building inspector, and the emergency management director. Ideally, one of these businesses who has to report would be a good candidate to be on that committee. So we don't have any reportable committees, any reportable businesses in town. As far as the right to know individual the coordinator is recommended that the fire chief be put in that position. Fire Chief Coleman is open to any further discussions from the board of selectmen or fire department. Now, our longtime individual was David Snay. He was the captain of the fire department. He was a building contractor. He was always in town. He was the guy that was the coordinator.
Yep.
So right now, we could have Chief Messier or Assistant Chief Bain or even one of the 2 lieutenants. Because Lieutenant Mike is our highway superintendent and Captain Mike is our highway mechanic.
I'm wondering if
So-
Captain Mike might be the right selection because he generally understands, what the garages are using and all that.
He has a lot of background knowledge, so we could probably tap any of those individuals.
Or fire chief, one of the other.
Fire
I think
chief,
the Fire chief should be it.
right, the fire chief is, but he's not in town full-time. The Auburn fire chief is an employee, and he's there for 40 hours. One of the issues that we would have with the fire chief is that he wouldn't be available during normal business hours during the year. All summer long, he hangs out, plays golf, but in the wintertime, he's not available. Where our employee of the highway department has the authority because he's a captain.
Yep.
That might be something that we would ask him, if he'd be willing to take on that role. In this town, without a reportable business, it would just be the coordinator.
And the railroad, Because we don't have, there's no maintenance building or anything that was ever built, so it's just the switch gear. There's nothing really at the railroad of any
That's federal. We actually have no say in that at all.
at all, even if they're storing materials.
They can spread DDT and nuclear waste down the tracks, and we have,
That's on the tracks. I just didn't know if they stored anything on the property itself.
no, there's nothing there. So the,
There's stuff like envelope stuff in there or something, I think.
yeah, it's the folder, actually.
It's in Mike's.
Yeah, Mike's here.
So it is, it's Mike's area.
So, yeah, I mean, we could approach Mike and see, if he'd like.
I mean, just to me, he
put it
makes a
on
good
the
sense for that because he
Yeah.
understands it all too, Andy.
Right, but I mean, we don't have any reportable business, so it'd just be, somebody saying,
But then he could also make sure that, highway department's up to speed with their
Well,
stuff
sure,
as well
yeah,
too.
yeah, Yep. Okay. All right. Does anybody else have anything this evening?
Computers for the building inspector, his laptop is dying. And the water department and clerk.
All right, the previous water department building clerk, did she have a
She used that.
laptop or no?
There was
She's that-
something in there, but they can find no charger for it. They don't know how old it is,
She
nothing.
used to use her computer, Andy, for it, and
Right, she used the selectman's computer, right? Right, so we have 3,000 in that purchase account. So if we purchase these two, do you have any idea how much of that
I've
3,000 would
already
be?
sent the CM Geeks and are waiting for quotes.
Okay, all right.
do they owe us any replacements or anything like that, Andy?
Well, we have a schedule of replacements, so if the building inspector needs a replacement for his, that would be a replacement. The water.
Which there would be money for somewhere else, or would be in that 3,000?
It's in the 3,000.
Okay.
Yeah, and the
That's
water
my
department
question.
clerk would be a new one, but those two shouldn't be anywhere near
No,
that much, so there should be still one. We had a listing of computers from CM Geeks when they went through. What's the oldest ones we have, and we need to see if those are the ones that we need to look at
maybe
replacing.
that old treasurer one, I guess they also take returns, give you credit.
Yep, yep.
I need to get that for that.
I just have one question, something we had come up a couple weeks ago, and whether we can put on an agenda if we need to for another night. Do you guys remember when we got that wellhead letter, the department, talk about the bylaw
Yep.
for the drainage? Do we know if the Board of Health ever followed up with anything regarding this?
I haven't heard anything at all about it. Amber?
So
which one was that?
this was about the drainage in garages, basically, but it's wants us to update our bylaws for zoning to add this in. I didn't know if the Board of Health had seen it yet, or if anyone knows if they even got a.
Right, I remember seeing this in May,
Yeah.
but we had already closed the warrant for the annual.
So I
So,
was just
I mean, if
wondering-
we wanted to add that to our bylaws, that would have to be done at next year's.
They were just wondering,
Annual.
because I know planning board worked on it, and then they had asked if we had, Board of Health looked at it, if they had anything, because,
I sent it to Board of Health.
did they ever get
Building
back to
inspector,
it?
I heard nothing.
Okay,
Okay,
Okay.
but we want to put that as a possible add-on to the annual next
Proceed.
year.
For the annual,
Yeah, well, it's a bylaw change, so. One of the other things, since we brought it up this evening, where I discussed it, we have put on the town meeting warrant before, I believe it was actually, went to the town meeting floor, was voted down, to make the treasurer collector's positions be appointed. I believe the wording the last time it came around was at the end of the current the person is currently serving that position when they no longer want to have that position. So let's say that our collector wanted to do another term after the one she has, it wouldn't take effect until after that, if it was become appointed rather than rather than elected. I know one of the things that we needed to do before we were to make them appointed was to make all funds collected go into the general fund. We did that 2 years ago.
Thought so, yeah. And
2
we
years
increased
ago.
the salary, right?
Yeah, we increased the salary to offset what the
Okay.
collections were, because before, all late fees and penalties were collected by either the treasurer, the collector, or the town clerk. So now, when the town clerk collects $20 for a marriage certificate, it goes into general fund, not into her personal. Same thing with the collector and the treasurer, so.
So that would be like a policy at an annual
No, that
town
would
meeting.
be a bylaw
Bylaw
change, but they're
added,
not
yeah.
bylaws, they are elected positions, so we would have that. Now, that brings up another point that the town clerk brought up. We, at the annual town meeting, made an article, and it was passed, that the tree warden position now be appointed rather than elected.
Yep.
that may, we have to check, that may have to be on the ballot next year as a question.
Okay.
Because when you change from elected to appointed, it may have to be.
Because KP Law was reviewing that for us,
Right.
weren't they, Andy?
Yeah, they haven't got back to us, but we may have to make that a ballot question. So if we wanted to go forward with those two positions no longer being elected but appointed, we would have to get the wording specific, because the day of the election and then the day of the town meeting, that doesn't mean that our current treasurer and our current tax collector are immediately terminated. It would be at the next election if they choose not to run.
So then it could be 2 elections down the road. if
Could
they
be
choose
2,
not
could
to.
be 5.
Yeah.
Could be 11.
Yeah.
We had a treasurer that was our treasurer for 44 years. So
Yep.
she actually had brought that up 30 years ago. They're 2 very important positions. If you have a tax collector that isn't doing their due diligence, we could be losing a lot of money. Same thing with the treasurer. You need to make sure that the checks are being written and accounted for, et cetera.
Which we don't feel is an issue now, but it's
It's
just
not an
something.
issue, but it is, you have no idea who's gonna run for that position.
Yep.
And.
So I think our
whether they're
current,
qualified or
our
not.
collector's doing a
They're
fabulous
Completely
job.
qualified. They're doing a fine job. We just want to say, moving forward, because with the financial team, if they're not appointed, they have no recourse to have any
So
disciplinary action.
if we were to bring that up, then we should also be talking about treasurer at the same time, and if we're gonna put
Treasurer
it on.
collector.
One position.
Most towns, it's treasurer
Treasurer
collector.
collector, yeah, I'm sorry, yep, yep.
The accountant can only be the accountant. The accountant can't be
It can't be on both sides of the
well, it can't
checkbook.
be anything else. It can't be the town clerk. It
Yeah.
can't be,
Yep.
So the accountant is standalone, but a treasurer collector
And we
is,
appoint the accountant, so we.
we appoint the accountant, but we're talking about treasurer and collector, the 2 positions that are currently elected. They currently both have professionals in there. They're doing a fine job, no issues with them whatsoever. But at the end of their term, if somebody else were to come in and just says, oh, that's a $40,000 job, I think I'll write in that, and they have all their friends write them in, and you end up with.
A situation that's worse than the audit we were describing
Right,
earlier,
right.
discussing earlier, yeah.
And just for my own knowledge, we had this from last week, when all these open appointments, do they stay open if there's just vacancies and we just hope that every year, or is there any that we have to? So like the boards of appeals, cable review committee, home heating
Well,
assistant.
the cable review committee, we had individuals that were on that,
Yep.
and they were never tasked with anything and never asked their opinion for anything. We
I didn't know
had
that was a thing. so-
we had an IT advisory committee for years and years and years, and they would make recommendations on the website, they'd make recommendations on computer purchases, they'd make recommendations on, when we needed to have servers and all of that, and they were completely, they weren't tasked with anything, they weren't asked, they never met. So they said, don't elect me to that committee anymore.
I just didn't know if any of these
So
were.
I can't speak to that particular list because I don't remember every one of them,
Yeah.
but I like the ZBA or the Concom and maybe, planning as well, at least probably those 3.
Yep.
If they, Concom, because I just happen to know when I was on it, you've got a 5-member board that's, established by our regulations or our policies,
Yep.
right? If you don't have 3 members, then you don't have a quorum. So if you don't have, if we were down to 2 members on Concom, then the Board of Selectmen takes over the responsibility for. Yeah, so to that point, I know there are some where you have to have a minimum, a quorum.
Yep.
I don't know if there's any on that list where it's.
So one of them was in question because it says we also have the following elected vacancy, planning board, a 3-year term. But the chair, Sean, said he doesn't understand why he thought this was clarified. They are a 5-member board. They do not have a vacancy. For some reason this year on the ballot, there were 2 openings for a 1-year and a 3-year. There's never been a 1-year. They had a 1-year one time that filled a vacancy when someone had to
Right.
drop out
The
early.
1 year is because someone left or resigned.
But so.
But
the
it,
person-
but shouldn't have been this year because there
Correct.
wasn't a vacancy. They
So
have
the
a
person who
5-member
was- The
board.
person who was put on, who was didn't get their ballot in time, but was written in, was supposed to be the 3-year. But this came back on this letter saying they still have a vacancy for a 3-year. And they don't understand why. They are a 5-member board with no one having, so,
Who's saying that they have a vacancy? Is that from the town clerk?
yeah.
Okay.
And the chair.
Is that a situation where maybe somebody hasn't come in and gotten sworn in yet?
No, they're all done. That's.
Okay, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah,
That'd be
that's
the
why
only thing I
they
could
were
think
just
of.
wondering because they thought it was clarified or fixed. But for some reason that 1 year seems like she thought it was a permanent thing. A 1 year is a 1 year, and they were trying to explain to her, we don't
Yeah,
have a
that-
1 year
that-
position.
For
I didn't know what we.
instance,
To do like Andy Lavasser was a
Mr.
year.
Lavasser
Yeah.
was
One
a
year.
2-year elected position because there was a selectman that was elected and then at the end of that year
Exactly, that's what
resigned.
happened here.
Right, so, yeah, that just needs to be clarified with the
Okay.
town clerk.
We'll keep an eye on that for
As
the
far
next
as zoning
ballot.
board of
Yeah.
appeals, that's one that we've never fully staffed. We've always had alternates
knew- okay.
because nobody,
How about the sexual harassment officer? I know we have
That was
one.
Debbie.
Yeah, so do we need a second one? I know chief is primary, right?
I don't know the regulations to say
Okay.
it,
need
whether we,
one, we had an alternate.
Okay.
I don't know if that was a male and a female too, and there might be an issue with the gender of having
I just was
both.
going.
I just don't
All
know.
these were open, so I didn't know if there was any that we have to
Would
like.
anyone like to make a motion to have Sharon be the,
Poor Sharon. Leave her alone. All right, thank you for clarifying, guys.
I'll make a motion though, Andy.
I know what Bob's motion is.
Can I-
We adjourn it at
do you have anything else?
Need a motion for the computer,
For her to move.
for me to go ahead
I
and.
think you got money in an account. You buy them and you put it in the
Well,
rec,
you
right?
need to have the approval of the Board of Selectmen.
I have
So
the
it's not
approval.
really a motion, it's, you know, if you have the funding,
Yeah, I can do it.
Purchase away.
Purchase away.
Make a motion that we close at 8:15.
I will second that motion, Bob.
Make some dinner.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Thanks for watching the Town of East Brookfield's YouTube channel. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, suggestions, or anything to add, comment them down below or email ebmedia@eastbrookfieldma.us.